Hello, I'm Lucidity. I'm from Team ZOL Meraki. I'm the only Malaysian player playing for the team right now. I think it's Miha because even when we are losing, she's still laughing on serious situations. Me, because I'm playing Chamber, so I always dry pick. Capricious, we have to wake her up in bootcamp sometimes. Miha and Capricious, when they're too comfortable, they just start singing. So I want to perform the best of my ability because in the previous tournament, which is the overtime, I was choking and I didn't really do well. So hopefully I'll do a comeback. So ZOL Meraki is seen as the underdogs, and hopefully we get to win some games at the same time, enjoy the process and have fun. My role model is Brand Alexi. I think she has really good firepower and she's also very funny in person. So the rival team is Brand Esports Victors because we have went against them before and we lost badly. Hopefully we will do better the next time. So watch out, Brand. Passionate because we have nothing to lose and we will keep trying to win. Reliable because I can adapt to my team's playstyle even though there is some language barrier, but we make it work at the end. My favorite song is Lucidity by Tame Impala. I don't have other hobbies. I just play Valorant even on my free time. So last year I was just watching Game Changers, and to me it was really inspiring to see these talented girls play, and I wanted to be a part of it. So here I am now in the top 8 team. I also want to thank ZOL for being a really nice organization. They make me feel really comfortable even though I'm the only Malaysian in the team.
Let's get the get money. Let's get the get money. Get money. Get the drop. Let's get the drop. Get money. wanna get it crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a get it crunk with a couple hundred thugs. Crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a get it crunk with a couple hundred thugs. Everybody round, everybody round, everybody round, everybody round here. Everybody round, everybody round here. Know we getting hype. Everybody round, everybody round, everybody round, everybody round, everybody round here. Know we getting hype. We wanna get it crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a get it crunk with a couple hundred thugs. Crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club.
And welcome to the VCT Game Changers APAC. This is Elite. This is Stage 4, and today is Day 2. I'm Tash, running alongside Donut, my analysis buddy for today. Oh, you're on this side. And today, I would say, is a pretty scary day.
Yeah, I mean, for all of these teams, yesterday was heartbreaking for them, but now is their chance to shine yet again, because we all know that after all of the hardships, they have to pull through, they actually have to follow through and get to win, because if they get eliminated today, they just really let go of the chance of being one of that teams that get seeded to the championship in Berlin.
Yeah, when you think about it again, yesterday was a very, very interesting day where alter egos seemed like they're no longer far ahead in terms of skill gap compared to before. We've seen upsets, we've seen some very, very strong plays, we've even seen some very interesting strats when it came to Pearl. Regardless, as we go into Day 2, a lot of these girls have already acquainted and known each other, and some of the strats are already displayed to be seen on the table. So starting off today, we're going to have W Streak versus ZOL Meraki. And I have to say that for W Streak, their rebrand, bringing them all the way here, has been phenomenal. But what exactly does this mean for them?
Well, it means a lot of things for W Streak, because these teams actually played so well. They just fell short in terms of the follow-through. And when it comes down to Breeze, right, we saw W Streak make AE struggle for some of these rounds in Breeze, and even showed signs of life, especially for Cupcake. But what we're seeing now are all of these glory plays that both of these teams, well, actually all of the teams, has showed us yesterday. A lot of these follow-throughs, a lot of these amazing plays, clutch moments from Japeeps, and as well as all of the glory plays of Sway as well with the operator. We did not expect her to really select that neon all of the time, but what I appreciate about these ladies is their ability to adapt, their versatility in this map, and those that we didn't really expect to show up, they were the ones to show up. And
Yes,
I really like
100%.
that the controllers and the initiators are the one to do so.
Yeah, especially for X10, I feel like they really showed the biggest improvement, I feel, in terms of confidence and how they play. It's a very, very different team when we see them yesterday. But another team that showed a lot of improvement for me has been Orangutan. I mean, to be fair, they started off the day strong, going 2-0, and then after that, an 0-2 against Alter Ego. And what's really scary about this is the fact that when they went up against Alter Ego, it wasn't really a stomp like we usually see the Alter Ego girls do. It was a little bit more of a fight. They actually have to struggle for both teams, and this shows how much they've grown throughout the entire year.
Yeah, in terms of improvement, we've seen that from the likes of OGT not backing down at all. But the underdogs that we wanted to really push in terms of the storyline are actually X10S. But they're not the underdogs anymore. They're the Bulldogs. They're the ones fighting back with all of these plays, with Muffin and Baby TZ stepping up to the picture and stomping SMG. And this is just not necessarily something that we expected from them, but we actually love to see it here in Game Changers.
I think there was a lot of expectation coming in for SMG, especially with the new roster change. Their roster looks absolutely stacked with some of the biggest names there joining them. Yes, we saw a huge improvement for them, but the other teams are also stepping up the game in terms of how they play, how they work. And I think like in terms of what I've always been saying about X10S is the fact that they've always had this like communication issue, and it seemed like they seem to iron out. But this is the brackets for today. Now the lower brackets have already been filled up, and we're going to be seeing AECL with 2-0 yesterday with Orangutan, and X10S 2-0ing SMG, the biggest upset that I was shocked about because I was honestly expecting a game 3. Now for today, we're going to be seeing AECL X10S for the upper bracket later, but now in the lower bracket, we're going to be seeing who is going to be going up against SMG and who will be going up against Orangutan.
Well, a lot of these surprises actually doesn't really come from the performance of the team, but it's also about the map selection that was brought in. A lot of the things that we saw yesterday were unconventional plays, and even the selection of Pearl, the preference of Pearl, even if it's just a new map. I think this is the first time that we're ever going to be seeing a lot of the preference for this specific map, because early on in 2021 when Breeze was out, they just really wanted to ban it out. And
yeah, a lot of people were
new,
banning out Breeze and Fracture.
Yeah, but now Pearl is actually their oyster, and we saw that for most of these teams. It was played 3 times yesterday.
Okay, so this is something that I learned throughout my casting as well as hosting champions, is that the team that masters the newer maps and the newer agents first will be the one holding that trump card. Why is this? Because you're faster than other teams in terms of getting something that they're unfamiliar with, something they're not ready for, and this is something that they can abuse like crazy. We've seen it from Paper X, and yesterday we saw that from X10S. The way that Ginny used her Viper Wall as well as her Poison Orb has been phenomenal, not just for Ginny, but the rest of her team. And we're seeing that from X10S in particular. But enough about X10S, because the first game for today, we're going to be seeing ZOL Meraki versus W Streak Esports. So now for W Streak, we know that they are rebranded from L Streak. But before that, let's have a look at these two teams. And there are our two teams that will be kicking off the day, ZOL Meraki and W Streak. Now, we've seen them both play yesterday, and now they are here battling it out on the lower brackets. And I have to say, for ZOL Meraki, they showed a really strong promise and a strong start despite not closing their games. But their three new players is what I really want to talk about. But anyways, so coming back to the team, it's going to be very interesting. So ZOL Meraki, we have three new players. Kamiyu yesterday has been showing great promise, I have to say, coming in with those clutches and playing those really nasty rat corners. Bez is actually a great controller, I have to say, when coming onto her, because when you look at how she plays Omen yesterday, something that's really interesting is how aggressive she can be. Playing those off angles and catching people off guard is something that we might see from VCT champions. One of the players that I know plays this way has been Maxi, a former Bleak player, as well as Envious from SMG. Let's have a look at the head-to-head though between Yuki and Miha. So right now, when you look at Yuki, her ACS looks a little bit more higher when it comes to Miha, and there's a reason for that. We know that Yuki previously from Aresta, now in W Streak. And I think what's really great about her is how she plays the initiator. We know that she's one of the most aggressive initiators around. How she plays Breach, how she plays Sky, how she plays the KO has been very phenomenal, which is so great in terms of getting those first trades. Now, when you look at Miha, yesterday Miha's aggression is just something to behold on how she uses the Fade. Yes, she's played the Sova, but honestly, I prefer seeing her on the Fade because more of how aggressive that she can be. She's just so aggressive to the point that she can actually walk the Prowler and be aggressive while doing so.
Yeah, and it's not just her being able to be self-sufficient, right? She always does it for the team. I've seen a lot of the videos that they've uploaded online, and I think it goes to show that both of these players head-to-head actually have something to offer. Nuki is an aggressive player as well. I think it was seen in the interview that we saw from W Streak, that her aggression, when she feels the confidence, she does take on all of these duels, and that's the reason why her ACS is that high. When it comes to Miha, however, the big difference would be how Miha will always be selfless when it comes to the use of her utility. She might throw in that Prowler, but it has to have a follow-through together with her teammates, and that's the success that they have had before. We just haven't
two
really
different
seen
strats,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, never really just seen that yesterday from ZOL Meraki, probably because of their newer teammates, right? With Bess into the picture, they haven't just captured that before. But the duo of Capricious and Miha, it's something that we have to revive for today so that we will see more successes from them. Because at least for the map for OGT, right, there were rounds that it was so close, it wasn't just able to be closed out because of the sheer team play of OGT.
Yeah, when you think about it again yesterday, it feels like for ZOL Meraki, it felt like they only figured it out toward the end, and the gap that they had to chase was a little bit too big. Regardless, these are the three maps we're seeing today, and W Streak has a trick up their sleeve, which is gonna be Pearl. And I'm really curious to see how they're going to be playing this. Ascent, the first map will be ZOL's, and we've seen them actually choose this yesterday as well. This is definitely one of their most, I would say, popular maps on how they want to play it. They didn't win against Orangutan yesterday, so I'm wondering if they're able to learn from it and bring it into the game today. Decider will be Icebox, but honestly, I really have a feeling that we'll be going straight to map number 3.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've seen a lot of the comments from viewers, even from the players themselves, right? That even after losses, how do you actually push forward? How do you learn from it? And I guess with a day's worth of preparation, I think hours worth of preparation, how do you convert all of these losses to something of a motivation for them to get to a win, right? But ZOL isn't backing down. Even if they lost to Orangutan yesterday, they said, okay, we'll just learn from the mistakes, probably do VOD reviews, but not let go of that intuition, that Ascent is actually a very strong map for us. But Pearl into that mix, though, we haven't seen ZOL Meraki play it just yet. But I'm pretty sure that ZOL would have something up their sleeve. Double Streak, however, at least we don't see Breeze here, wherein we saw that they really posed a threat against AE Celeste. But Icebox. Icebox is something more interesting. They might be able to win out their own map selection, but Icebox is gonna be a pretty banger of a decider because both of these teams, they have shown us how they perform in bigger maps. I know that Capricious would wanna go just ham, be the jet or even the chamber for the team, and still be able to convert with these frags.
We've seen how Capricious performed yesterday, and she is not afraid to take up space. But I think one of the biggest problems is that disconnect once Capricious goes in. I think this is more of the utility usage problem from the other team to her. She comes in and then the utils come in, so her teammates are not able to follow through. So what are they gonna do to gap that little bridge that comes through as soon as she's onto site? We saw that especially happening when they hit B site on Ascent. So I'm curious to see what they can do. I think the other way they can do is that just kind of like just close their eyes, just follow Capricious, because even though there is those utils, Capricious has already been their eyes to see where exactly is kind of empty and where exactly there has been players. There was a moment where Capricious did straight up run onto lane on B side. She was able to grab 2. So this is where the confidence needs to come in and not just let Capricious take 2 hits and then finally she goes down before something were to happen. We saw that connect coming into the last rounds against Orangutan, and I'm really hoping that throughout the entire day, the whole team can stay connected together. As for W Streak, what do you think?
I mean, with regards to the connection of this team, right? They've been playing all together ever since they got selected for APAC Elite. But this now is even a bigger challenge because with newer teams or newer players in the server or in the lobby, then it's going to be quite harder for them to try and capture how their opponents would look like or how they would use their strategies against them. But with W Streak now, we all know that Mimi and Dolph would always be the star players, the ones who would be very, very effective in this map. But I guess the connection also has to be seen with the rest of the players, such as Noxy and as well as Nuki. I think that's going to be the biggest if we're seeing a disconnect for the team of ZOL Meraki for at least following through together with Capricious, just closing their eyes and going ham. For me, for W Streak, it's more of the initiator play, the connection between the star players and the initiators.
I'm gonna have to agree with you there, but it looks like Rosie will be the one running the KO this time, and Miha will be the Fade. And I'm really liking this double initiator lineup coming in from ZOL. It's very aggressive, which shows that even on defense, they plan on going aggressive too. And I think this is great because this allows them to take so much space. We've seen Best perform on this map yesterday as well. It's been really good for them. But for the side of WSF, I'm really liking the chamber pick, and they are also going to be going for that double initiator, but it looks a little bit more aggressive. But with Cupcake on the Astra, it's enough to kind of give that nice balance between aggression and being, I would say, conservative.
Yeah, a newer look though for ZOL Meraki because we're seeing now Camu as the jet, and she's going back to her roots as the duelist. So this poses a much more of a bigger threat against W Streak, who are using at least Cupcake, who did perform so well yesterday. She got an ace, but yeah, I mean, now the roles have been swapped. I'm not too sure if this will work for both of the teams, but we have yet to see in this map of Ascent.
I think what's really good about that is the fact that Kamyu was very, very aggressive yesterday, which is why the role swap happened. And I wouldn't be surprised if there would be a change in momentum and how exactly they'll be playing this game. Kamyu has always been great for those first picks yesterday, and now on a jet, I think this will be very great, especially if given the chance or enabled by their initiators. Regardless though, enough speculation, because now ZOL Meraki and W Streak, who will be continuing their journey and whose journey stops here is the question. I'm not too sure. What do you think?
Oh, is that a question for me or for
Yes.
the casters?
No, I don't see the casters
time
already.
for the caster because I don't want to speculate anymore. Of course, ZOL Meraki is very close to my heart, but I would really want W Streak to really rise from the ashes. Even ZOL Meraki after that two streak loss from OGT. It's a good look now in this map of Ascent, but I would really have to go for for ZOL here, for Camu, basically just because she is embracing that duelist role.
Duelist role or not, let's have a go and have a look because I'm going to pass it over to Zia Wagyu as well as Sleepy. Taking it away, guys.
Thank you so much there, beautiful panelists out there. And of course, my name is Zaya, and with me is Sleepy. And yes, I did eat Wagyu.
Well, Zaya Wagyu, it's nice to have you here. I'm glad
this is a thing now.
Well, it's a thing, and I think
Okay.
it's a pretty good nickname. Hey, it's pretty catchy, right? Zia Wagyu. I think
Okay, you know what?
It rolls off the tongue pretty nicely. So
You know what? Wagyu is good. So, and speaking of good, Sleepy, we are gonna have such an amazing play
yeah.
that we are about to witness today. Because have you seen their agent select? It's almost the
Dude.
same, but
yes,
as we've seen for the likes of ZOL Meraki, let's just go down just recently yesterday.
Yeah.
They have been so good in getting those win streaks whenever sometimes their early games are like toned down, or
Yes.
sometimes whenever like their enemy team is still, or for the likes of Brent, rather they have been pretty good in the early games, but then the fact that they are able to bounce back up is something that you have to consider here for the likes of ZOL Meraki.
yeah, I agree. I think they've got a pretty good sense of how to recover. They know how to take their pauses, and their pauses have been pretty darn effective throughout yesterday's games. And that's something that we are going to have to see today. And I
Yeah.
do agree that it's been feeling like they start slow, basically.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So it's very important for them to have that ability equipped to just recover very nicely right after a pause. And what I'm seeing right now is that they're starting on the defense, and this is good news for them. Sorry, they're starting on the attack, and so that's bad news for them because yesterday against Orangutan, on attack they only got 2 rounds, and those were pistol rounds. So let's see if
Indeed.
they can manage to get some today.
And I feel like with the likes of them really battling it off against Winstreak right here, they are going to start off to mid, but Coffee Cake takes it to Camu
Ooh.
for the trade. It takes 2 before she could actually be taken down. Nuki and the rest didn't even let us see the light of day. It's as if they're like Power Rangers, you know, that from the back end, then they explode, and immediately you see them having a first point.
Yeah, I mean that was just so fast. I barely got to see what happened where. Like who got the kills? Basically, we got Rosie, Cupcake, and Nuki getting all the 5 kills, and only Camus got 1 for the side of ZOL Meraki. And this is bad news again. Like I said, yesterday playing against Orangutan, they only got 2 rounds, and it was off of the pistol. So now that they've lost the pistol, my question is, can they convert the gun rounds? Can they convert the rounds following these 2 pistol rounds? Obviously, this round is a bit tough. They only have pistols, so I expect WSF to get this pretty nicely.
Look how nice they tamed their members are. The Prowler is so good. It actually covered up Dolph in the process. And you know, this is, I will be getting into a point later on, but this is the fact that I do worry a bit for ZOL Meraki. With the likes of Winstreak also having a fast-paced kind of play, the thing is, I don't think that starting off slow would work really well for ZOL Meraki because Winstreak, as these ladies are very much momentum based. If you do give them the opportunity to really just go and snowball, this is going to be a very tough wall to climb for the likes of ZOL Meraki here. So just by all of those noise earlier from B main, it made them rotate here to the likes of Catwalk and A.
Yeah. Looking like a very fierce battle here towards the backside. And, of course, Cupcake is going to be able to defend nicely with those tabs. Camus, though, getting a pretty nice consolation kill, I guess. But, again, it's only classics for them, so not too much happening. Relatively okay round for WSF, even though they did lose 2. Cupcake only had a ghost, so it wasn't economically disastrous for them. So recovering from this, I think this is really where they need to step up, right? You said that they cannot really afford to start slow this game because W Streak Female, like their name, is the W Streak team. So if they start winning, I think it's going to be a chain of rounds for their side. So ZOL Meraki, they don't want that to happen. They have to figure something out this round.
I mean, expected to be, because now that they do have rifles to work with here, and as well as you did get your point there, Sleepy, because right now we're seeing there's no, at least for the first 2 rounds, there's no time to react, even for the likes of our ZOL Meraki ladies over here. So look, Dolph, the fact that she is very much confident in pushing out B main is something that they also have to take into account for. So right now, the spike still on spawn, and I think they're trying to play for peaks here, which is understandable.
Yes.
Maybe they're trying to slow push this and trying to, you know, dwindle down the members of win streak. But the thing is, so long as the spike is not yet planted, they have all the luxury to wait here.
Yeah, and something worrying for ZOL Meraki is that the last time W Streak Female played, Dolph performed really well on his end. So let's see if Dolph is going to get that. Dolph is going to get taken down, actually, coming here with the entry. Probably going to get a second one here. Never mind. It traded away, and now it's a 4v4.
4v4 to equalize the board over here. Again, right now, look at all of these utilities getting pushed up, but Miha was able to wall bang Rosie in spawn. Mimi, however, capitalized on that hold-up, was able to spawn up by Capricious for the trade, but Cupcake onto the long, was able to take 2 for the team. 1v1 with Cupcake not going to see this round as Rosie cleans it up.
Clean. That was a nice swing from Rosie. And this is literally what they needed to get, right? So now that first kind of impossible task is now overcome, right? They got the first round on the board, so starting from this point on, I feel like they have to keep the momentum. The problem is they did lose 4 players, so they're going to have to rebuy a lot of the guns. And that means they're also going to have to live with some light armors, as you can see on Capricious and Vest. But having said that, the way Camille entreed for the team was actually pretty nice. The problem is now she only has a Guardian. Thankfully, though, the Bladestormers are out, so I think this might be a very good ability for her to just entry anywhere she wants. The problem is it's very spread out, the defense, and so being able to get that first contact is actually a pretty good challenge for Camille. The question is, where is she going to get that first contact?
And to add to your point in terms of them being splitting up, you know, the fact that I worry as well is the lack of follow-ups that we've been witnessing for ZOL Meraki. So yes, let's say that Camus is able to entry, but if she gets traded out, who is going to, you know, refrag for her? And that's the thing that I feel like ZOL Meraki has to really polish out, because seeing how they are split push here on towards our minimap, it also gives time for Winstrike to reposition themselves whenever they try to, you know, attempt to take a said site.
Looking good towards B now. They've established some presence, but they've taken some time, so I think there's already a rotate coming. The smokes are out, so now the entry is going to come, and this might be time for Camille to show what she's got.
Okay, Haunt is not going to pick anyone at the moment. Actually, it does, but Rosie also getting Miha in the process. But Nuki wins out that aim duel in towards mid. The spike is still going to be planted. Extra ego inside of ZOL Meraki. Now they just have to think about their post-plant situation. It's actually going to be the Prowler. No one was able to actually get it done. Vision is denied. A lot of things happening across the floor. Beautiful crossfire from WSF, but here's the behind. 360 for Dolph. Was able to take down Vest.
That was unexpected. I thought for sure she was gonna go down there because Bez had such a good angle on her, but the reflexes, like we said, Dolph performing on Ascent, this is no surprise. Although she only did get that first kill, just that round, I think this is a preview of how much pressure is getting into ZOL, because that should have been an easy kill, right?
Indeed.
But regardless, it was a thing. It happened. You can't tell me you've never whiffed, right, Zia Wagyu?
I mean, I always whiff. This is the reason why I am a commentator in the first place.
I guess it doesn't apply to you, but
it
regardless,
doesn't apply to me.
We saw, not good. Okay, this one though, what's happening here?
Oh, Dolph already pushing in towards the side. The thing
So
is,
cheeky.
because of the suppressed, it kind of gives them the idea to where Dolph is at. I think they're just not sure, because with the help of Cupcake's smokes right here, it kind of gave her the stealth capabilities. But right now, look at this. Slightly open for B, I was about to say, but look at that beautiful
Spike down, B.
transfer of Cupcake from B to basically Speedway. What is that? Nuki Mimi rather just basically became the target. Then again, she was able to pull the Rosie. However, was able to tap down a Cupcake from that corner. And then another spike has been planted here, Sleepy. This is looking technically good. This could be a thrifty for ZOL Meraki if they are able to position themselves correctly here.
Yeah, and they do have Nightfall. I think there can be a very good retake here. But with this drift, yeah, I don't think it's looking likely, especially after Dolph predicting the positioning of their rendezvous. And now Rosie only left with 1 HP. Of course, she is going to go down to the paint shells. And Best, with the same position we saw her in the previous round, not going to be able to find anything this round either. And with that, 4 rounds for WS7. Looking like they are true to their name. So yeah.
I do not want to curse anymore because I feel like I jinxed. So
you kind of did.
I apologize for that, but then again, it's something to be expected at the start. But because of the rendezvous, was really, again, as you mentioned, expected by Dolph. Again, I feel like that could have changed if Dolph were to not look at B main.
Yeah.
Again, it's the audio cue, it's the sound cues that make things more exciting here. And just if you look at that replay earlier, the way that Dolph actually positions her paint shells, it was so timely. She threw it off towards that corner of the spike, which really led to, if I'm not mistaken, that was Best to her demise, and all the more really placing all of the favors to the side of win streak females. So the call for the timeout for ZOL Meraki here, it's actually a pretty good timing. I wouldn't say it's early because, again, you wouldn't want this winning streak to go really far beyond.
No, this is what we were expecting from ZOL Meraki, right? We know that they are pretty effective when it comes to timeouts to figure out what they needed to do this round. I feel like what they needed to do is give more space to Camille and support her even more so that she is going to be effective in finding those entry kills. But the problem is W Streak Female, they've been pretty good in terms of dodging that first contact with Camille. So it's been pretty darn hard for her to get a opening kill for her teammate. The moment we saw her take an opening kill, they won that one round, which was the gun round on the third round. But since then, it's been pretty tough for her, since it's just kind of impossible for her to find a kill if she can't see anyone. So now they're going for it towards Market, and this should be a good sign because then, again, she's leading the charge. She's got support from her 2 initiators. If she still cannot find a kill here, Zia, I think that's pretty much it for ZOL Meraki.
And the fact that the spike is also in the
it's
spawn,
too far.
It's a bit too far. Like
There is a teleport though, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, I feel like this wouldn't work out. Let's say, what if Capricious here alone in towards A, being taken down by Cupcake, and right now they haven't even have the spike though. They don't have a, let's say, a solidified rotate coming here. So I feel like this spread out type of tactic that they're trying to do is not as much as effective because we haven't seen them yet. But look
at Camille
on Heaven. Oh, Camille was able to stealth her way towards a site. Cupcake, however, will be taking one Capricious to back her up, and this could be a plant now on towards A side. I was about to mention that they didn't attempt A yet, but I feel like this is it, you know, like what better way to take it than from the behinds, right?
Yes, I mean, Camille, again, we talked about how she needed to find a kill, and she found such a big gap and found a kill from behind. That's what more could you ask from this lady? Now, in a 3v2, Camille, I think she's pretty comfortable here, just waiting for her opponent to come into her crosshairs. But in fact, she's actually going to be the one being found by the opponent. And Capricious in a 1v2 will not find the last kill. That was uncalled for. I don't think that was necessary for Camille. Because I thought she was just going to chill there, right? It's a 3v2. Let's wait for them to come here. But she decided to push out, and she got punished for it. And therefore, the opening that we so much wanted to see just happened, but it didn't convert into a round. So I would say that's pretty unfortunate for Team ZOL Meraki.
Indeed, because again, it was already the post-plant situation. So your best bet there would basically be just wait them out to try and defuse the spike. You can wait for time at that point.
Right.
But yeah, you are right. It wasn't a necessary call for Kamyu back there. But then this is the interesting part. The double win streak female calling out for a timeout despite their advantage, and I feel like, you know, there are times wherein sometimes you also need to refresh that.
You're right.
Or else they might overheat, or maybe some go with, you know, a comfort room break
or choose some Wagyu.
Or choose some Wagyu. Yes, you're right. Hey, Wagyu's good. What do you mean?
I mean, I'd love some, but
see,
they're not gonna have any soon, because they need to figure out what they need to do. ZOL Meraki. I mean, this is benefiting them as well, right?
Yeah.
WSF taking a timeout. This is giving them time to figure out what went wrong and just reset. It's important to be able to forget your mistakes. Maybe not forget, but let it go. You can't forget your mistakes so you don't repeat them. But hopefully ZOL Meraki is going to be able to do that. And so in terms of getting the opening kills, I think they're doing okay after that pause. So they finally found a groove. They finally find a path to be able to infiltrate the defenses of WSF. But it's about the closing. Right, so it's important to get the opening, but it's also pretty important for you to be able to know how to close. So let's see if they can open up this round, and then we want to see them close it.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't really want to watch a movie without a very good ending, right? So I feel like for ZOL Meraki, again, I think it's more they could capitalize on the numbers advantage here, because I haven't seen them like really aggressively push together, because they've been like, you know, split for a various amounts of time. So Nightfall going in above Drafts did not make it into Generator, however, did not spot out Nuki here, but Rosie was there to back her up. But that could have been a different story though. But then going back here in towards the side, this time around they are able to get the spike plant with complete members this time. So I'm looking forward to see how much repositioning or angle that they are going to check here. Right now they're trying to wall bang the hell side of the site. This is interesting. Doombot as well for just additional information. That's gonna be the flash. They are a bit rattled here for side of Windstreak. Prowler in, but just that pass as well. Rendezvous out. No! Gets one. That's gonna be the trade, but Mia and Rosie and Capricious for the cleanup this time. They were able to find that groove that you mentioned and the ending that we needed.
Yes, there you go. Finally closing a round after getting a much-needed man advantage in the early round. But this is so unfortunate for Doll. She popped the showstopper right as the null command got popped. So it was just unfortunate that we didn't get to see a rocket flying through our screen from Dolph. And that's what we needed to see from ZOL, basically. We needed them to be calm. We needed them to be disciplined in the crossfires and the post-plant so that they don't get picked up one by one in the retake. And so if they can just keep that up, you know, get the opening kill, execute nicely into the site, and then hold the post-plant, I think it's a pretty good game plan for them. But this operator from Mimi, the Tour de Force to be precise, might change things here, because I don't know how well ZOL Meraki is prepared for it.
Oh, that was so unfortunate. Kamyu had the upper angle, and yet Dolph was able to detect her and still win that duel. And you did mention because of this Tour de Force, it could change. Oh, that was so lucky that she wasn't spot out. That was so lucky. Oh, but then again, going back here, trying to attempt catwalk. This is a double pick. This is a crossfire. This is a crossfire. Oh.
Wait, it wasn't Nuki who got it even. It was Mimi with the Tour de Force.
That was very interesting, but right now, Gold Command is there. Prowler as well. Look at all of this fiasco. The party is towards B side, but look, Rosie right now is able to shut down Nuki here, but can still be stabilized if the members are able to go towards market. They have to really have their eye on that there as well. So right now, Miha though, shutting down Mimi, Capricious as well. They're going in towards the party. Rosie was able to spot out one. That's gonna be the flash, a little bit of a whip, but still gets the job done.
Good flash. Yeah, it was a bit of a scuffed entry, to say the least. But they made it work. They made it work.
They did.
A bit unfortunate as well for Cupcake to stand right there in the open, trying to revive her teammate. I call it the save my friend syndrome. You know.
Indeed. I mean, I would do this thing.
Yeah,
I mean-
but you know, in that situation, you're probably better off just being careful about people lurking in the close corners and
True,
stuff.
true.
Or maybe you can bait it out. You know, just tap the revive
audio
and
cue,
see
yeah,
if there's
yeah,
any
yeah.
rats coming into your view.
Mhm.
But anyway, that was a great finish again for ZOL. A bit scuffed in the entry, but they did manage to close it out with flash, and now they're gonna try for A.
Oh, flashing out the members as well. Wine, actually, the Prowler didn't
Detected.
spot out Cupcake, so this could be very vital for the team. Look at the discipline, the patience that Cupcake's waiting for. I think she's just waiting for the spike to be planted. Spot, that's the omen!
One.
That's it, one down.
Two.
Yes, indeed!
Spike
It's gonna be a
down
third. Using the stars here to make it align to her favor. Look at that, and beautiful contest as well, giving her time for the members to rotate. But then again, Kami shuts Dolph down. 1 for the team, 3v4. Spike hasn't been planted yet. That's gonna be the smoke. Gets the rifle. Beautiful transition there. That's gonna be the haunt denied once more. But even though that is also there, Nightfall is there.
Oh!
But maybe still gets the tap. Beautiful, despite having a full amount of
One
HP.
enemy
Rosie as
remaining.
well. This is gonna be a 1v1 with Mimi 2 HP and the Dream. I'm not sure if Rosie does know. She's already angled there, but look at that! Mimi with a tap. The Sheriff plays. Still gets it for the team.
Oh god.
Thrifty.
So much happened that round. The Prowler not detecting Cupcake was at the beginning of the end for ZOL Meraki. 2 kills off of that. That was insane. I don't think I would have been able to get 2 kills there. It was
Yeah.
a very calm and collected approach from Cupcake, getting 2 kills like that. Like, that's not an easy feat. So Cupcake, props to her for getting that. And of course, Mimi as well with the 2 taps from the Sheriffs with 2 HP in the 1v1 clutch after her
Exactly.
position was also given up because of the audio cue. I think they just played to their maximum potential, each of the individuals that we just mentioned. Cupcake, Mimi, and a good hold from WSF as well. Off of the 2 kills from Cupcake, they were like chill, not rushing into the side unnecessarily. Yes, they did get picked off a little bit, but in the end, it was still a 4v3, so they played the man advantage really nicely. And ZOL, it's again, it's been really rough for them in the entries and also in the closing. Right? They did get the side.
I feel like it's also okay. They do plant the spike on default,
Yes.
but then again, the thing that I see that's a bit lacklusting for ZOL Meraki is the way that they kind of check out the sites in general, the portal of entry for win streak. Because the thing is that I feel like they do get a bit rattled once they kind of hear some amount of presence, let's say, in towards tree. Like most of them already look in towards that direction, which leaves, let's say, the likes of Heaven or in the flank.
Right.
I feel like it's unguarded to
Yeah.
say the least. So because of that, win streak is just basically taking advantage of that, because especially when they are looking at an off angle, it's all the more an advantageous feat for them to take that
Yep.
retake potentials. For ZOL Meraki, again, I think it's just more on the follow-ups in general, because they've been doing already good, may it be scuffed entry or a very smooth one to say the least. The fact that they are still making it work, it's already good. I just really feel like for the closing, or again the ending of things, is something that they have to work on again.
Yeah. So closing the rounds is probably the biggest challenge for ZOL Meraki now. Like you said, they're doing a pretty good job getting into the site. They've been getting the plans done, but closing the rounds is now the challenge. So it comes down to the discipline and awareness of the angles. Like you said, when they were entering the A side, yes, they did not detect anyone towards Wine, but why would you have 4 players
Yeah.
looking at tree, right? When you have you
Yeah.
can have 2, and the rest can just be on standby watching that angle
True.
that could be filled in by someone else. So I think it's about that. Getting into the sides, not too much of a problem. Now they have ultimate as well. They have the null command, and they do have Camille and the Blade Storm as well. So I want to see a Camille getting an opening kill and then transitioning into a side take. And then we also want to see the retake. But Capricious detected. This might be a call for a rotate towards A. And this is a good time for them to rotate to B. So I love this. If they find the right timing, Zaya, I think they're going to get this B side for free.
They have to, and of course, this means a full-on commit towards B side because they wouldn't have the luxury to re-rotate anymore. So look at that updraft
Whoa.
in, liking how Rosie is already anticipating that she may be able to peek towards that smoke. So that's
Look at
going
Mimi.
to be, yeah, Mimi. It's just. Mimi is amazing. But then again, this is also very, crucial for the likes of ZOL Meraki. If they do not spot out Mimi in towards this flank, this could really lead them to their demise. Already Cameo in, but still one shutting it down, but Dolph on the sides. Get the op kill, shutting her down. Once more, Paranoia not gonna hit anyone. Spots out the gun, Dolph again with her operator. That's gonna be the shells down, but it did not on the slide. Rosie, and I think both of them will definitely refrag for the team, which is going to happen. Rosie, however, tries her best to make this work. That's gonna be the null command. Spots them out here and towards Speedway. No time to defuse. Rosie with a head tap there. Beautiful positioning.
Wow, what a round. There were so many things going on, and I feel like this round came down to awareness of both teams. I think ZOL Meraki catching Mimi on the flank was actually pretty good. That was the key to the round, I feel like. And again, Capricious not being cleared was also one of the things that contributed to the win for ZOL Meraki. So again and again, it's about awareness and about discipline of checking the corners and angles that they needed to check before going forward for the executes or the retakes. It's just not showing up for either of the teams, so it's costing them some things. And some of those things are in the form of rounds, so we can't have that. But thankfully for ZOL, they did manage to close this time around. And now Mimi is going to try to play a sneaky beaky position towards mid with the backup of her teammates towards C-Shore.
Oh, Prowler spot. One's out. Rendezvous out as well for the likes of Mimi here. And they are already zooming.
Whoa!
You already spot towards B. Best as well, not letting the flank go beyond. Was able to shut her down. Best, however, coming in with a tap of double into her side. Tries to jump shot, but not enough. Dolph, however, will go for the trade here in towards Market. Which up with the rifle. She does have the showstopper to work with in here. But again, it depends on who she gets to spot out first. This could be, a good crossfire for them. But then again, it's all about Dolph being able to really isolate the fights here. Spots out the head over here. Did not look at towards B main as Rosie cleans it up for the crew.
Damn. It was a 50-50, right? She was thinking, okay, one player's towards stairs, maybe they have another player towards defender spawn, then they would have formed a crossfire. But that was also the possibility of B main that she didn't consider. It was basically a chance that she was taking, and she lost out. So that's alright. But I do want to praise, again, ZOL Meraki's ability to adapt and their ability to figure out what they needed. And this time around, they figured it out. They needed Camille to just go in their faces of WSF. And she found the opening kills. And once ZOL Meraki are able to get those opening kills, it was a bit of a breeze for them to get into the sites, right?
Definitely.
Closing is another thing, but they did manage to do it this time, even though it was down to a 1v2. It was still pretty scuffed. But a close is a close. A round is a round. And now it's just left to round number 12. And having seen what ZOL Meraki was able to pull off in the past few rounds, I think they're pretty comfortable now on the attack. Even though they didn't really do that well against Orangutan yesterday, they've recovered. And looking towards that second half later, I think this is a pretty good sign of life for ZOL Meraki.
Truly. And the thing is, as well, because of these scuffed entries that are coming in from ZOL Meraki, if you look at how when Strike Female is positioned, it made them react. Now they're guarding off mid and market as well, just so that they can have that insurance policy. If you are able to do that to your enemy team, it means you have more varieties to do, because some of the sites or some of their entry points are not as guarded as much. That's going to be the ninth mode for both sides of our phase right here. That's gonna be the Prowler down, but look at this, taps all across the floor. Mimi shots Camille down alone. Showstopper as well in towards B main, gets one gets Miha away in towards this battlefield, and now the 3v4, make it a 3v3 now. Was able to spot out Nuki towards Deep Long. Is it gonna be another? Yes, it's DDT crouch, unfortunately, but Zol, there was the crossfire from Main and Long. Struck down. Rosie was about to plant the spike down, and the fact that Winstreak Female still was able to deny that potential reset from ZOL Meraki, I feel like, you know, this could go beyond, but ZOL Meraki's adaptability is something really worth noting for.
Yeah, now let's see what the panel thinks about this one. Tash, Donut, what do you guys think?
Thank you very much, Zaya, as well as Sleepy. What a first half from W Streak as well as ZOL Meraki. And I have a lot to say, starting off with that mid control from ZOL Meraki from round 10 onwards.
Yeah, I mean, mid-control was a late response for them, but that was just the answer to the first kill advantage that the team of WSF was able to offer in the first 9. I think I would call it the advantage of the first kill, AFK, I would call it.
Wow.
But that really goes to show that WSF, whenever they would have the first kill, it would now bring the round into a snowball for them. And I think that was a testament to the 30 round wherein Cupcake got the first 2 kills just by tucking herself in that small little corner and then found that right timing to get the kills that they definitely needed.
That was a big punish. That wasn't honestly such a big punish. Just because they didn't clear one small corner with the Prowler, they got punished severely from it. And even though it was a thrifty, Mimi managed to come out on top with just 2 HP left. And I have to say, when it comes to WSF, one of their biggest potentials has been their Angels. You put them on the Thrifties, they do so well with those one taps with those Sheriffs. Now, another thing I really want to talk about was as well about ZOL was more of Camille as their Jet. So it didn't really seem like she was able to find that enabling up until the last few rounds where she's able to get onto site. But even then, you start wondering, Camille, are you overheating? Are you taking up so much unnecessary space that you die?
Yeah, that might be a big responsibility for Camus, right? Because we all know that when it comes to the duelist, it could be Capricious taking it on or Camus taking it on now. But it seems like it's the same mistake as we've seen from ZOL Meraki yesterday. That even if there is momentum, there is already that fire up, that flame isn't really shown in the rest of the teammates, right? Yes, there is a Prowler from Miha, but at some point, right, when it comes to the dash in, the rest of the members of ZOL Meraki, they're so slow to respond to what Camus will need for the site. Whenever, of course, you already used up your dash, what else can you do? You still have a Cloudburst to come in, but if the rest of your members are so far away from you, it's gonna be quite hard. But now in the defense, though, when it comes to the win rates of both of these teams, it's very high. WSF on attack, it's pretty even when it comes to W Streak, so I'm not really sure what will happen here. It just will boil down to the timing and the amount of space that's going to be taken away by ZOL Meraki.
So this is going to be really interesting as we switch places. Who will be bringing this back? So I'm going to be passing the mic back to our casters, Zia, Aura, as well as Sleepy. Take it away.
All right. Thank you so much to our lovely ladies in the panel area. And of course, we are heading on to the action here. And I'm Sam with me, Sleepy, on to the next half of our game. And so far, this time, of course, switching sides, we are going to witness how Winstreak Female does take the attacker side here in Ascent.
Yeah. AFK, advantage of first kill. Thank you for that, Donut. We do need to see more of those first kills from ZOL Meraki, to be specific, because 5-7, not too bad of a score line, but of course they will need more if they want to keep up with WSF. WSF, though, on the attack, I mean, the role swap have been looking pretty okay for them. Dolph used to play the Chamber, now Mimi's on him, and Dolph now takes the raise, and she's been doing a pretty good job on the defense, and now it's going to be up to her to open up the spaces here on the attacking side. And so far, they've been looking like they're comfortable playing together, and this position from Mia is undetected, kind of, because that can't be right? Because that is not the kind of shots we wanted to see from Mia. With that, the opening has been secured, and they're going to go look to secure A side.
The thing is, I feel like for Miha there would have worked, but unfortunately she did whip it out, and of course it made a way for the entry, but Best gets through, but Rosie Cupcake goes for the trade, spots out. Best this time goes in to plant into a generator, goes for the push, but then again there we have 4K only for Mimi to shut it down. That was so close for Best. And also good timing for Mimi to actually push in, because if she didn't, that could have worked for Best, because Best could have had the opportunity to reposition herself.
Yeah, the reset would have been nice for Bets, but it was just too fast. And this is a testament to WSF's discipline in terms of their trades. They were so effective in backing up their teammates whenever a fight is happening like this. I mean, it was phenomenal that Bess managed to flick onto Heaven like that, getting another kill for herself. Cupcake was not happy about that, but yeah, it's a pretty nice round overall for WSF, going for a slow presence towards B, transitioning towards A, getting a first kill, and securing the side. It was overall a very good trade for them. And now Camille.
That's the right click there, was able to take it out, but Mia was able to take off down Nuki for the trade as well. That is, to say the least, information that, oh, okay, there are more members here in towards A, so we can have more varieties on how we could flank them. But that's the problem here, because they are together, they have more also entry points. They can watch their backs and their fronts as well, and this is the similar tactic that they for the likes of Windstreak female are doing. They're going in towards mid, catwalk and tree, going in, but Best with the right click shuts down Rosie. Yes, I will be agreeing with you on that. What reaction there? Nuki with the gun advantage shuts down Precious as well.
Now 3v3, the flash is initiated for the shorty, and the gravity well, perfectly timed to deny any kind of entry. But Bess, again with the classic, still finding another kill. It is a 1v2 though, and only with a classic versus two players positioned closely together. I don't think, however much I want this to happen for Bess, I don't think it's a possibility. And with that, Nuki will close it out without taking a single point of damage. We'll try and secure the Vandals to make sure their economy is in check. 9-5. I mean, that round is just about Bess and her classic.
Indeed. I would also like to commend Beth here, however. If you noticed in the later parts of the game, at least for this round, she did a bit of an audio cue stepping down in towards that box, then transitioning herself in towards generator.
You're
that
right.
could have been a different, a different perspective if ever there was no crossfire in towards Hell.
You're right.
And but again, it was a nice attempt, and if also a different story if she was able to pick up a rifle in towards that process. But right now, as you said,
changed.
exactly. She's been popping up with a classic. What more with a rifle, right? But then again, the Blue Straight female was able to close things out in towards their favor to a 9-5, and now they're doing a similar tactic by ZOL, taking in towards mid. Gets the flash first. That's going to be Mia taking one, make it another. The spike is in her arsenal, and right now we do see ZOL for the shutdown though, for a little bit of a trade happening here. Nuki giving a little bit of an overextension right here. Did not spot out anyone in the process. Mimi, however, takes Miha down. Not spotting out Best in that corner. Capricious spotting Nuki towards mid. Best with a good insurance policy, uses the paranoia, tries to reposition herself, but ZOL wins the fight in towards that duel. With 75 HP still left to work, now she just has to isolate these fights. But the problem is, I think she doesn't know that Capricious is in towards her flank.
30 seconds left.
No.
Oh, no,
this is good
indeed.
discipline on the side of ZOL Meraki. Spreading out just to see where Dolph is actually going and then regrouping. But then they didn't even need to wait, because Rosie, with that quick one-tap, will secure that round. I do have to mention something. Cupcake and the side of W Street Female, I think they're adopting a strat where if 4 of the players are playing with rifles, Cupcake is only going to play the Ghost in hopes of economic effectiveness, right? So if one of her teammates dies, she can just pick up a Vandal, and then it's just like she bought all along. The problem was that Cupcake was together with one of the players that entry towards B main. That player died. Cupcake tried for the trade, but she only had a Ghost and didn't have time to pick up the rifle. So that strat would have worked if Cupcake was not the player to trade immediately.
True.
And so that kind of backfired, and that gave the round to Meraki. Now, Mia is the one getting found, and with that, another entry goes to WSF. AFK, advantage of first kill, goes against WSF.
I feel like as well in towards that early stage, you noticed how Rosie earlier was also using the Prowler. So that is you know a moment of vulnerability, which could have been taken advantage of as well for the refrag. But then again, we do see Mimi here taking Best down. Best didn't really have much to do at that point because she was already spotted. Here, spike has been planted, post-plant situation suspended with straight opening up the retake. Now suppressed. They have been spotted. Capricious and Tommy with crossfire from Market. A little bit of a jiggle peek there, but still, Tommy wins that duel. Now it's all up to them. Really close out this fight. Tommy with the 3K, Cupcake with the 1. How is he going to isolate this fight? Not anymore, as Tommy cleans this with a 4K.
Kamiyu, come on! What was that shot? The last one especially when she was low with 32 HP. It took a lot of guts to swing like that and actually hit a headshot. That was just props to her individual skills. And the advantage of first kill didn't actually convert the round for a W3 female. And I feel like it was because Kamiyu just popped off. It was a bit of a staggered defense in the post plant. The players from the side of WSF just peeked out one by one. We saw how Dolph was trying to get a kill from a flank towards Pizza, but just didn't manage to get the shots in. And with that, the capitalization happened for ZOL Meraki, just making sure that they used that timing of Dolph missing her shots to also get the kills onto the rest of the players, because when you see your teammate trying to flank, you sort of relax a little bit, right? Because you think, oh, our teammate's got this, right? She's going to get the kills. She's going to clear everyone from behind. But then Dolph didn't manage to do that. And they sort of like, oh, wait, what do we do now? And they just get caught off guard in that snapped moment. And therefore, Kamiyu was able to utilize that moment to get a few more kills for herself. In fact, she got 4. And it was all off of a Guardian. And this just goes to show that Kamiyu is comfortable with any weapon she has, and now she's already got Blade Storm again. So overall, I think ZOL Meraki's doing pretty well on defense, and I think this is expected against WSF.
I feel like as well for ZOL Meraki from that encounter earlier, it's also with the help of the likes of Rosie. Because if Rosie didn't crossfire there, it wouldn't really leave Cupcake in a pinch. So if let's say if Rosie was in the other side of the map, that could have been a way for Cupcake to really isolate the fight. So you also have to really give that kudos for that space. As well that Rosie has been given, and the factor as well is of course the grenade that Rosie has, because it was a distraction from that feat. So it was really a very smooth sailing for them during that time. So it really forced out Win Streak Female to just really tone it down as well in terms of how they do take a side, in which they have been doing. But I feel like the problem is being rattled in towards their presence is also a factor. So now, again, you noticed how Rosie here from Win Streak Female was from A, transitions herself in towards B, because I feel like, man advantage could be the way, but look at this. Watch your back! Not gonna happen as Capricious takes down Dolph here. That's the crossfire once more. Using all of these utilities. The rendezvous was able to survive in the nick of time. Look at all of these grenades, flashes, through and throw in towards the mid. Into a Speedway. Best was able to take one Capricious to have her back, taking Nuki down as well. They are in a pincer right now with only 10 seconds to spare. They spent a lot of time here. And look at these Guardians closing them and not letting them inside B main for a flawless round.
Man, what a great defense. And props to Capricious for being able to survive after being seized towards his awkward position. Thankfully, she kept on to that rendezvous for quite some time and used it just in time for her to escape and allow her teammates to back her up. So that was all just great individual skills in the defense, and combined with the togetherness that they brought, it was a great round. So now the question is, Dolph, can you restart this engine that WS has had in the first half with this showstopper? I feel like she needs to use it now to gain some kind of entry advantage. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit wasted. And I think it's going to be combined well with a Cosmic Divide here towards A as they go for a split. With the staggered positioning on the side of ZOL Meraki, I think this could be capitalized really nicely if they find the right timing. But unfortunately, Capricious! What a shot!
What a shot indeed. That was a beautiful position from Best. It really, also paved the way for them. And the information that was gathered from Hell, it was so beautiful. Now look at this. Nuki getting that there, but Rosie from Coffee was able to take two for the Team Cosmic Divide. And look at all of this fiasco. Kamiyu not being able to react on time, being taken down. Uses the haunt in towards Covey as well for safety net. But only the remaining member here, Miha, on towards Heaven, was able to take Cupcake down only for Nuki to refrag 10-8. Did not use the showstopper as far as I know. I feel like they're saving this for a more, viable or more tangible strategy. Because if you notice, Sleepy, their entry points or the way that they do open up and towards the side is also quite scuffed. Like, it also takes time for them. So, yeah, maybe them saving these resources out could be in a more stable, stable kind of entry.
Right. Well, let's see if they can actually get that. It was a bit awkward that last round. Let's look at this initiative from the side of ZOL Meraki, just taking full mid control. Meanwhile, A main is given to Capricious alone. And she will be found. She's probably going to have to let go of that A main, and this will trigger the side of WSF to get mid, but mid is now set up for the trap. Look at this. Very nicely done from the side of ZOL Meraki. Not going to be able to secure that kill towards top mid, though. They still get the player advantage, so I think this is going to be good for them.
Indeed, they just have to capitalize on this advantage, as you mentioned, Sleepy. But right now, tour de force in towards the hands of Mimi here. Let's see if she is gonna take advantage. I feel like Kamiyu will spot her out. Beautiful timing there. Now it's the shutdown. Uses the cloud burst to reposition herself, not really getting down in towards her behind. And again, as you mentioned, they just have to capitalize in this thought. 2 versus 4, this is something, we are expected for ZOL Meraki to really win it out. But there's also the possibility of Winstrick female, getting these clutch. Look at that utility usage. They didn't have the follow-up though, unfortunately. Mia was able to take one in smoke as well. All she has to do is just basically spray, or one of them pushes. Be the bait. However you want to push it. She's the only member remaining, and only 10 seconds to spare. Yeah.
Paranoia on top of it.
Probably saving the gun as
just
well.
Let her save this, please, guys. Come on, be nice.
Mia,
please, just don't.
Oh
okay.
no, no. Okay, no. She doesn't want. Mia. He doesn't want the advantage. I mean, that is technically okay as well, because of course, if you delete more of the options for Winstrick female to win it out, especially when that rifle is saved, I mean, you would want that objective, right? And besides,
I mean, it's good. I'm just saying, just be nice. It's a 4v1. Let her save. But no, this is a competition. There's no room to be nice.
Yeah.
And so that was a great defense once again from ZOL Meraki. Just delaying power after delaying power. Their utilities have been so effective in delaying any form of entry to the side of WSF. So WSF scuffed by. We have Stingers, Sheriffs, and Frenzy on top of everything. They're all stacked up towards A main, and this is just going to be an easy time. Wait, never mind. As I say easy, WSF somehow found those kills. And thankfully, though, they still have Rosie and Capricious defending the side. Look at that. 4 players stacked towards A. What a read from ZOL Meraki.
Double peek it for Winstrick female. Just use Nuki as a bait here to try to stabilize them. But no, look at them. They're picking one by one. But Cupcake does get the refrag here. She does have her senses tingling. Prowler to give more information, and Capricious ends it out. The thing that we have seen in towards this round, Sleepy, is okay. Not really a good moment for Kamiyu in towards A main. But the fact that Dolph satchels in towards Jenny, spot out by Capricious, shut down. And because of that, it kind of paved the way for the other members of ZOL Meraki to just guard down A main. So again, another barricade in towards the A site this time.
It was a great response from ZOL Meraki too. They rotated so fast, knowing that it's probably a stack since it's a scuffed by. No one's gonna try and lurk with a stinger. They're probably just gonna stack towards A main, and they just rotated. So 2 players got killed, but there's still 2 more players, Capricious and Nuki. So, sorry, not Nuki. I believe it was Rosie. It was impossible for WSF to entry without any casualties. Oh, no. This operator is a problem. Nuki, the flasher, is down. And that means there's one less way for them to deal with this operator. So Kamiyu is just going to have a fun time defending against WSF anywhere they choose to go.
Indeed. And right now, it's really taking Winstreak Female aback here. Look at the hesitations this time. In the early rounds that we've witnessed, they have been just, going ham and just really YOLOing, if you may, in towards their entry. But right now, they're being more cautious. They're being more careful because they know the adaptability that ZOL Meraki is basically executing at this point. Nightfall to detect one, but there is not going to be any follow-up through. Cosmic Divide as well to narrow down the vision of entry points. Showstopper in the side. Oh, the rendezvous saves the day for Capricious, but I think they already know that she is in Boathouse. Take the quick peek. Actually, no! They did not look at Boathouse. And that is going to equalize it, or actually make it more advantageous for ZOL Meraki right here. Look at that ping. Look at that signal. Not going to detect her, but then
No way!
Takes one. Oh my goodness! With
8
the
seconds.
cloudburst in, the smoke kill still there.
Really?
Oh,
Really?
You just have to shut it down. Shut it down. Oh, did not shut it down. Still made it. No worries.
No way.
He still wins the fight. What is this? Sleepy, what is this?
What is this indeed? Oh, so many plot twists in one round. The way that Rosie clinched that round back was phenomenal. The timing on I believe the Jet. Who was the Jet? It was Kamiyu. Kamiyu pulling out the operator as the hunt was being pulled out. It was so disastrous for them. And the fact that Capricious was staying alive for so long was actually backfiring because she decided to stay alive instead of trying to deny that plan. Maybe she was afraid of the double peak, but it was interesting because Rosie actually decided to stay towards logs, meaning Mimi was taking a risk as she was planting that spike with 8 seconds remaining. So if she died there, it would have been done for WSF. But
Exactly.
I mean,
Oh, my heart.
I don't know what to say actually.
I need my Wagyu.
You need your Wagyu. I need.
Yes. I'm gonna munch real quick, but no, I'm kidding. But then again, it's the clutch plays that make things really, gonna topple off of your seat. And Winstreak Female just executed that. I was mentioning earlier that there were hesitations, but then, I jinxed it again. They took the risk of planting the spike, no holds barred in there, and towards that moment, lot of plot twists all over. Wow, Winstreak Female still fighting it off, wanting to lead the charge, not letting this scoreboard, get any more closer as it is right now. And look at this, more of utilities driven from Rosie of Winstreak Female. I just feel like it's a bit too early to use because there was already the skills that were thrown in towards A main could have double peaked, whatever. But then again, I can't really blame her because she doesn't want any information revealed to wherever they are.
Just a relaxing time for both teams. No real action happening just yet. Just a prowler being thrown towards A and towards B, getting some information for both sides of the team, but I don't think there's a direction that's been said for WSF yet. They did throw out some utilities towards B, but it doesn't look like they're committing. As you can see, the spike is lingering towards the A lobby, maybe even transitioning into an A split towards A short, but never mind. They're actually deciding to go B.
They have
but
to decide.
This is interesting because they gave presents and now they leave and now they're re-hitting right after they gave presents. So this might mean that ZOL Meraki is still going to commit towards B. But they are going for a split. So this might catch ZOL Meraki off guard, so we'll have to see if this is going to be effective at all.
Oh, no.
The utilities!
14
They are so
seconds.
effective in delaying them.
But 14 seconds on the clock, they need to shut down Mia in towards VRS. They won't have time to plant the spike. They're doing another risk. Copycake this time in the guard. Making a double 180p. Beautiful, but Camu already there. But the spike has been planted. Rosie has to isolate the fights before she gets any more in trouble. But I think she does know. She's turning around in towards their flank. They're not looking at her right now. Boss spots out one. Gonna be that. Just buy time. Did not buy time as Camu takes her head off, making it into an 11-11 4 line. Oh my! I need my
lord!
wagon. Hold on.
That dink is so heartbreaking. It's a Vandal. What kind of Vandal dinks and doesn't one-shot an enemy? This is so heartbreaking.
Well,
She
apparently.
did so well too.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Cupcake, but for the remaining
Rosie.
member,
Rosie.
See,
look at that.
Look at this.
Oh,
wait, never mind. It's not being shown.
they don't want us to look at it. This is terrible.
It's too heartbreaking, all right?
It
It's
is,
too
it
heartbreaking.
is,
Don't
it
show
is.
it on screen.
It
Anyway, a very good execute towards mid here. Just a defense and a detection. Camu, being so brave to peek out that smoke, will get punished. The follow-up is not too good from Rosie. Not gonna get a refrag, so 5v4.
I feel like Rosie from ZOL Meraki was also rattled because she was able to flash two members in mid lane. There was no follow-up in towards the shot. That could have been a 2K for her. But then again, it's understandable. You would want your safety net here. That's why she just decided to fall back. But then again, it also gives a more advantage here, to say the least, for WSF, despite having a weaponry difference. Still, because they do have the numbers, there is also the easy refragging. But then again, Dolph with one dinks it out and wins out the fight, and also an extra weapon if she could go shopping in towards market. And now it's up to the members of ZOL Meraki to make this capricious get one, makes it another. They're gonna be up the race. He doesn't spot out anyone from A main at this point. Making a third for her name. Best to follow up with that kill, and it's only up to Dolph with the operator. I suggest you save this, my friend, or if you want to, but then again, uses the sheriff untimely manner. Best shuts her down with a little peek, and just like that, they were able to get match point first.
Wow. I mean, it was a good start for WSF, but again, the weapons advantage, the positional advantage, this A side best defending with Capricious, it was a bit too much to ask for WSF to get these two players, because they were they were positioned so well, one towards Heaven and one towards the Dice area, and so the crossfire that they've created over there was just a little too much. Now they're going for a fast B here. That is a successful task of pushing away Capricious, but Capricious still has the angle. Where are the smokes? There we go. And this means it's a little harder for ZOL Meraki to defend. Can they defend this match point and maybe even secure the round? But Rosie taken down just like that.
Oh, they haven't seen long just yet. Mia takes one
You want
as
to
well.
play?
Let's
Let's
over for the
play.
trade. Camu as well with the tap of a Vandal. Once again, goes for the Blade Storm.
Woo!
Misses it out for Cupcake here towards Boathouse. Now the only option is to pay from here, but Cupcake wins it with a Guardian. And now it's all up to Bess. Bess, you got this. But then again, Cosmic Divide makes things all the more harder. But then again, spots out Mimi in the process. That's going to be the spike being planted down.
Okay.
Best to go in. Let's see how Cupcake really works this out. Uses into the shadows, but then was destroyed. Uses the smokes as well. Cosmic Divide is down. Double smoke. Trying to narrow down the options. But of course, since Cupcake, she does have the luxury to buy some time. Just jiggle peek it over. But I think she's gonna fight it. Oh. Here uses the classic for a little bit of a right angle. No, you're behind! Cupcake dies of an off angle, and Bess wins game one for the team of a set. Oh my goodness,
All right.
look at these. Look at these players, very much happy in towards their momentous victory. I mean, imagine win streak female having all of that advantage, having trouble closing it out into our second half right there, Sleepy. And Bess was very much popping off with the classic. I mean, very consistent all through, but Sleepy, you have a lot to say in here. I need my Wagyu, you know?
Yes, all right. I'll let you have your Wagyu, but I think it was a bit of an expected result for ZOL Meraki, as they did show us that they were pretty good on defense the other day against Orangutan. It was the attacking side that they were struggling with. So transitioning onto defense, yes, they did kind of get a slow start. They did fall behind in terms of the rounds, but they managed to recover quite nicely. They did show us some really good defensive capabilities in terms of their utility management, their positioning, and the response to always be ready for when W Street Female was actually going to execute. And so every time WSF looked like they were going to be able to take a side, ZOL Meraki just decided, okay, I think we know where they're going, and they took that decision without much hesitation. So a little tough for WSF to infiltrate the defenses of ZOL Meraki. So I think overall it was just a great showing from ZOL Meraki, adapting since yesterday's game.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? More speculations we are going to hear in towards our panelist side. The casters here say, and with me, Sleepy. Panelists, take it away.
The first half looked like it goes straight into WSF's favor, but ZOL Meraki showing off what they can do on defense, almost bringing us into our first overtime of the day. And me and Donut, we're both speechless.
Definitely, there were a lot of rounds. You couldn't hear us. We were just muted and on the background, but we were just screaming. I had my hands over my eyes because these plays, they're so close, and I couldn't really want to see what will happen. Of course, I needed to see it. Of course, I needed to see how Cupcake will actually deliver all of these clutch plays with her sheriffs, or even when it comes to Dolph, actually getting all of these damage with all of her utilities. And Mimi's so pristine with all of these shots though. This is what makes W Streak a force to be reckoned with. It's just that ZOL Meraki, when it comes down to the response system, they had a better connection towards the second latter of the half.
Bess has been on my mind. Great aim, Jules. Great at those bandage situations. She has been absolutely phenomenal for the team. Very aggressive with the Omen usage. And for a long time, I've been questioning, will there ever be another aggressive Omen user like we see from Envious, from SMG? But for now, I think Bess is my new, I wouldn't say my new favorite, but one of the new favorites to come up on top. There's a great thing to talk about that, because when you look up at Bess in the second half, especially early, she's been especially aggressive and great with those multi-frags. But for now, let's put that aside, because this is our MVPs. We see Capricious and Cupcake, a Sentinel versus the Controller.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to Capricious's place, right, we saw her be a little bit silent during the first half, but during the defense, it was delivered by herself and by Bess.
That's when a chamber usually shines.
Yeah, definitely. There was a round wherein, okay, a great A side hold, wherein Capricious and Bess had a lower and a top position when it comes to holding down the A side. And they were just like a sentry. Every time the WSF would enter through the doors or through the arches, they would just be taken down by Capricious and Bess. And it's also the fact that the rest of the teammates, they had to just change it up a little bit, and wherever Capricious was, and whenever a W Streak would just want to go forward, Capricious would just dodge the showstoppers, the utilities that Dolph would just throw at her, and that's just some great sense into that. That's why they got this win.
I think what's really impressive about WSF though is their chain usage of the utils. We saw Dolph and Rosie chain a C's as well as the Pains shells, which was absolutely phenomenal getting a pick. But I think in a lot of situations for these two teams, it came down to those last aim duels, those 1 versus 1 situations where it feels like both teams were having to clutch it out. That's how close each game looked. I think in the first part, I think ZOL Meraki is still having that problem where they still kind of struggle in the early parts of the game, but once they get it, it's like and then suddenly they're taking so many rounds in a row, and like a team for ZOL Meraki, you start to see this momentum sort of build up. It's very different than WSF, who's able to just get a great recovery even after losing 2 to 3 rounds to ZOL Meraki. Regardless though, it comes down to whether or not they're able to figure out how to take it away from them in terms of how they want to play. And I think in terms of ZOL Meraki, because they're a momentum-based team, it gives them that firepower to move forward. And again, I think after that mistake then by Kamiyu, where she overheated a little, we start seeing a change. And I think ZOL Meraki is one of the most adaptable teams around when it comes to changing on the fly.
Yeah, I love how they were able to shape up towards the latter half of this match, right? The way that they were able to chill, stand back a little bit and figure out how WS would actually take these sites, and how they were able to form that energy was something potential for them to get these rounds one by one. And I love how surprising each of them could be. There were times as if ZOL Rosie was trying to hold these angles unexpectedly and is able to take on these duels. So each of them had a time to shine. Capricious won as MVP for that one, but we all have to give them crowns because Best showed up. Miha gave us all of these Prowler plays wherein the responsibility of information is just all towards her, and they were able to convert to a win.
All right, but for now, we're going to be taking a quick break. After this, we're going to be heading over to Pearl. So don't go anywhere. More WSF versus ZOL Meraki after this break.
Let's get money.
Welcome back, everyone, to VCT Game Changers APAC. This is Elite Stage 4, and we are gonna go to Map 2. WSF versus ZOL Meraki. Earlier in Ascent, we saw one of the closest wins we've seen against the two teams. And now, how will the two teams fare against each other in Pearl?
Well, this is going to be the big difference, right? When it comes to the utility usage, ZOL Meraki found their footing in Ascent, but now Pearl is going to be a different story because we all know that mid control is very, very much important here in the map of Pearl. Early on, ZOL Meraki did fight for most of these rounds because of mid. They knew how important it was for them to get these rounds done, but I guess the biggest difference would still be the agent selection for the team, because we all know, at least historically, yesterday we saw a lot of Fade picks, some Viper picks as well, at least for the side of AE Celeste, but I'm not too sure what type of priority they would have. At least, is it going to be the amount of control or the amount of initiation for the site takes? Because I think those are the two types of playstyles that are common here in Pearl.
Yeah, for Pearl, I think what's really important is to take up as much space as you can. And on top of that is to know the rotation timings between you and your teammates, because there are a lot of nooks and crannies that you can come through, especially on this map. On top of that, I feel like it's a very lineup heavy map as well, considering there's so many different areas that you can throw through the holes. And we have seen some really interesting walls as well happen, not able to be done again, at least during Champions, but there are some areas that you can still get some post-plant defenses from it. Regardless though, I'm really curious to see, because I think one of the best usages of smokes on that map in particular has been from X10 Sapphire. The usage of Ginny's Viper has been phenomenal, not only for her, but for her team as well. How they work together to play in those little tiny corners, how they work together to play with the DK as well, has been pretty huge for them. So I'm wondering if Viper would be a priority, at least for one of the teams.
Well, a Viper here is so important, not just for the side takes, but also for the holds, right? The snake bite gives a lot. I think I've seen a lot of kills from the snake bite yesterday. I think there were 2 or 3 just because of the timing of when it was thrown. And I guess with the amount of control, if Cupcake is going to be using the Astra yet again here, it could be a big win for them because of the universal utility that she can offer for her teammates.
Yeah, also for me, I personally really like a chamber, especially just to anchor down that B site. It's so great for long, and it's so great just to make sure that no one is going around through mid to backstab as well. And on top of that, another great agent I feel is also gonna be Brimstone. His smokes are phenomenal, and I wouldn't be surprised if we are going into a double controller strat, because it can also be used for attack, given the fact that if they have mid control, they can quickly run through mid. And I think X10 really established that mid control yesterday. So now, whether or not these two teams will be doing that, because when it came to Ascent, I feel like ZOL Meraki is the team that established more mid and grass control, as opposed to WSF, who prefer to be hunkering down on site or coming in through main.
Yeah, definitely a chamber pick is so much of an essential here, placing that trademark there by mid. But I think there were also plays from teams yesterday wherein they just really wanted to dedicate a certain person watching this, because there are a lot of these corners, these tunnels that they can go through to come from behind, and we saw that from Camille early on in Ascent. She just passed through mid, even if the trademark was destroyed, nobody was watching the flank. And this must be a possibility for ZOL Meraki here. If they were able to find successes in those sneaky types of plays, then WS, they should be watching out for these types of sneaky plays from ZOL Meraki.
I think what's really interesting as well that we really have to highlight here is the fact that Bess is currently the controller player. I'm not too sure if she will be switching out to another controller or maintaining on Omen, because the way she plays Omen can also be very valuable, especially on Pearl, given the fact that she's really good at those lurks and also the repositions that she can do as long as the players go through. Given that if say that there is a Viper toxic wall around, she can just teleport inside either to get information or play on the backstabs. But here we are, this is going to be the map, Pearl. Now, which lineup will be the one used here? And I think that for WSF, they have played this yesterday, I believe. So I think they do have a little bit of an idea. But as for WSF, they're gonna go back to basics. This is something that we see in like maybe a year or two ago Valorant. But it's not gonna be that though, as Dolph will be running the chamber, and we know that she hits those headshots. And they're gonna be doing a double controller here in the form, oh my god! Double controller, double initiator, and a sentinel.
Yeah, this is going to be the big difference of how these playstyles will come in. WSF, they're prioritizing that control from Rosie and as well as Cupcake, who did so well as an Astra. But here, for ZOL Meraki, they're prioritizing these duels. At least a double sentinel for Camu, but we've seen her take control as a Jet. I have no doubt that she's able to do that as a Sage. Probably this is something to slow down the pace of WSF, because when it comes down to the pushes of W Street, they're just so fast that you couldn't really see where they were coming from.
Yeah,
so
they're
these
very
walls
aggressive.
for Camu could really be an advantage for them, or probably something just to use against, because there are a lot
Battle
of Grim walls
Sage,
here,
come
right?
on, Donut! Battle Sage! We have to have it! There's so many different ways to utilize that Battle Sage here. We've seen it happen before, and I really want to see that Battle Sage if possible. And in the hands of Camu, it has to be. I'm praying that it is, because it's always fun to see those. Now, I think the fact that Best is on the Raze will show a different sort of way that we'll be playing. You know that she's not afraid to take up space, and she'll be very, very aggressive. Regardless though, we're gonna go into Pearl. I'm really excited, and so are casters Sleepy and Zaya Aura.
Thank you, Tash and Donut. We've got some interesting and exciting lineups at hand, Zaya. I mean, 2 initiators and 2 controllers and no duelists. WSF has probably got a big plan for Pearl, so let's see how this is going to go.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Who chose Pearl?
It was
WSF, right? So
Yes.
them choosing this only means that they have a lot in store for ZOL Meraki. The question would be, Sleepy, is if it's going to go smoothly, because take note, they do not have a duelist once again. So they're going to be approaching it in a more utility-oriented type of gameplay. And you know what? As much as the panelists are excited, I am too. So we are gonna head on in towards the game shortly, Sleepy. But I would like to ask your expectations on this one.
Yeah. I mean, I would expect starting out on a defense with this lineup is not going to be too much of a problem. I do, however, have some concerns for their attacking side later on. They do have a pretty good amount of utility to work with later towards the second half. In terms of initiators, they have the flashes, they have the prowlers to clear all those very close and tight corners. So one question would be how they can manage to get space quickly, right? As you know, the B side is really spacious. So if you're not taking spaces, you're probably going to be fighting out awkwardly. So that's going to be one of the biggest challenges from their side. But starting out on the defense, I think it's going to be pretty comfortable for Dolph to play alone towards B. She needs the operator ASAP as well. So that's a nice tap for Dolph to sustain. With only 33 HP left, I think this is a cue for ZOL Meraki to execute towards A side.
Definitely, and looking at this one, they're already creating something on both sides, and you did mention a question of how they're going to do it on attacker side. I feel like they're just going to do it the way that they are going to have right now, which is basically utility.
Yeah.
And look at that utility. The friend takes one coming for the trade. Jump shot's not enough, unfortunately, to keep her alive. Now the wall is quite good in here because it kind of delays the overall retake positions or possibilities for the side of WSF. But then again, we do see here they are crossfired, ready, prepared. But the thing is, once this smoke is out, things are going to be a bit more messy here. Looking at this, not gonna detect anyone. Try to knife out the wall. Look at that.
Oh,
as I told
boy.
you, as I say, getting messy because they're all crumpled in towards Link. There's no other portal of entry there unless they could have, zoomed all the way towards A main. But then again, you do have Capricious over there basically on guard. So at that point, good job, ZOL Meraki, for really getting this first round.
Yeah. So this is the power of the Sage, right? And this is something that WSF does not have this map. The wall on pistol round is super, super powerful. So you can see that it created such a barrier for WSF to retake, so many awkward angles for them to clear, and it sort of formed a funnel that WSF needed to go through, and ZOL Meraki was happy to be on the other end of that funnel. In the meantime, though, the execute towards B is happening, and yes, they did get an opening kill. They are tagged down a little bit, though, so maybe there's a chance for WSF, but it's not looking too likely. Yikes. It's a bit of a awkward tag. Nuki still managed to get a kill with Classic in her hands. We've seen the power of the Classic since last game, so
Yeah.
I don't want to count this out just yet.
Definitely, and look at this again coming. They're just basically, capitalizing on the advantages that they have right now. Again, we mentioned the safe as well as their weaponry right now. Take note that Bo3 also have not
Wait.
take one though. You do see Miha for the trade. And with
Wait.
a third. How is he surviving that long? But then again, Miha for the shutdown. That was basically a close call for ZOL Meraki.
Oh my god. I'm not a fan of how scary these rounds are getting. It shouldn't be that scary.
Yeah,
Especially for ZOL Meraki, right?
And it's still the start. It's still. I would understand if it was like in the middle parts
Yeah.
of the game, but then again,
It's
the
just the
beginning.
second round, and Nuki, off of those 3 kills, now she's only 1 orb away from an ultimate, and that's going to boost their defensive powers quite
Yeah.
significantly. And this is something that ZOL Meraki will have to take note of, and they have to play around this. Nuki, don't allow her to get those orbs. Don't allow her to get so many kills that she's going to have extra utilities when defending, because it's going to make your job so much harder, ZOL. And so now they're going to go and try playing with this bonus. With only 2 Spectres, though, now it's going to be up to their utilities and gap closing capabilities. And the detection is going to prompt a quick rotate towards A. And this might be hell for ZOL Meraki if they decide to execute right now.
So much information gathered, and still not being faltered here for the side of Winstreak female. But now this is all up to ZOL Meraki to just basically, take not too much time because they're already detected. I think it's more of them rushing in. That could have worked if ever that was the case. But because of that intel, you did mention it, the quick rotate. So there are already people on guard for the side of Winstreak female. Now look at all of those utilities at hand, and so was able to make things work. But your health, my guy, with Cupcake was able to defend 30 back behind the flank. And right now, that's going to be wall once again. Spike is going to be planted. Waiting patiently. Cupcake, though, still maximizing her advantage towards Lake Noxy from the behind. Was able to get one. Camu may be in a bit of a cornerstone in here. Use that wall bang. Let's see what makes it work. No, Cupcake takes it. That'd be a 4K for her. Only with a sheriff to work with for the side of ZOL Meraki here. That's the defuse right there. And Nuki to clean it for the crew. Quite expected since they do have the weapon advantage.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because they were, they did have the weapon advantage on the side of WSF, right? So I thought that ZOL was gonna go for a aggressive stance on the post plant, right? Close the gap, make use of the weapons in terms of the Spectres, the Sheriffs. You play close range, then you have more chance to get kills. But they decided to just stay where they were as they started the post plant. And this gave WSF a chance to clear the corners and get into position so that they can trade effectively. So it was a bit of a questionable decision for them to post plant that way, but it's understandable. They did have lesser weapons. In ZOL Meraki now, they do have the rifles at hand. And they're going to try and go for mid control this time around. And this mid control, we've talked about how important this is, but we also have to consider the side angles, like this one that's being held by Capricious. A bit of a trade of bullets, but no casualties just yet, and that mid control is still being defended quite nicely. So this is a total reset for both sides. ZOL Meraki, they're going to have to reinvest utilities to clear mid and also this B area. And I guess it's a safe bet to assume that Dolph is going to take a further angle And this might give them some space that they need for ZOL Meraki to execute slowly towards B side. But they do need more utilities. They do need more power in terms of closing the angles and getting the first opening kills.
I was about to mention, because it's only Miha that has the smokes or the controls to assist at least, I would have expected that them for her to go against with me being such a long and
30 seconds left. There.
Cover. But because of this safe push that they're already doing on and spike the walls, I think it's very helpful. Now it's just up to this cosmic divide to decide their fate here for either of the teams. Gone boom! Guess what?
Wow.
Another beautiful crossfire from Winstreak female Cupcake as well to get a kill of her own.
One enemy remaining.
She's already being cornered here. Uses the flash. Not gonna be working, but Freak is able to take me down. With the smoke, once they're done, they're out. As I mentioned, and Winstreak female making it into their second point.
I'm loving how the cosmic divides have been so effective on Pro, right? Astra is quickly becoming one of the staple agents here on this map. And you can see why. Look at this entry that was enabled just off of that one single ultimate. But the problem is, I think for ZOL Meraki, after that plant, they needed to decide if they wanted to play far or they wanted to play close. Playing close against a 5v5 retake means that the enemies have a lot of utilities to work with still. And if they decide to stay on side, they're going to have to eat those utilities up. And it showed. They weren't ready for it. And they got picked up really quickly by the players of the W Streak female side. So if they decided to play the post plant, then I think it would have been a bit better, because then WSF would have wasted a lot of their utilities going into that retake. But then, this round is quickly turning into the favor of WSF of that kill and of that one as well.
Definitely, and of course Dolph really opening it up for the team, was able to shut down Kamyu, who we did mention has been very much good in terms of her placements of wall, barricading entry points, and as well as the slow orbs are very detrimental for their team to delay the push of Winstreak female. But then again, you have mentioned it as well, because of ZOL Meraki having some indecisive moments in towards the previous round. I think it's better if they do polish it out as well, just so that they can have a better grip of where to plant the spike, where to position themselves, and where to use the crossfire. That's the Prowler, and because they're basically
Spike down B.
Dolph gets one. Capricious though gets the trade. Has to really watch out in towards the link, however, uses the toxins here. Capricious can go in one enemy remaining, but then needs to go to the shutdown, make it a double, in towards tower, getting their third point now, and I feel like Winstreak female was able to capitalize on their positioning back there.
Yeah, that was a great defense on the side of W Streak female. Again, going into the sides, not that much of a problem, but defending as they are on the side, that's the tricky part for ZOL Meraki. Even that round, they didn't manage to even plant the spike, so it's getting even harder now for ZOL Meraki to transition from a pre-post plant into a post plant.
You want to play?
This is just a little tough for them to enter, even though it's such an open space at B side.
Yeah.
They needed to rely on the Cosmic Divide so much that previous round to help them get into the side. So now I'm getting a little bit concerned for ZOL Meraki, because we're not seeing much of the effectiveness of their utilities to get into the sides themselves. And also the post plans are not really in favor of them. So props to WSF. Maybe they've prepared much more for this map. They've got a much better understanding of the map, so it's easier for them to decide which utilities to use, where to land them at. And now we're going to see another B execute, and it's going to be another 5v5 full retake. So my question is, can ZOL Meraki adapt from the previous experiences of the previous rounds? Will they take an aggressive stance, or will they just yeet out of the side?
Oh, this is so risky for Capricious, but still was able to get the job done. And you did mention it, they still have to learn and they're trying to, the big area of
enemy remaining.
Team Miha already enters in towards the corner. They will take down on themselves, whittling everything into now a 2 versus none. So ZOL Meraki, yes, they did quite learn their lesson, but I did also expect that because they have planted in towards a more farther side, I could have, expected a bit, at least one of them in towards B main, just so that there's insurance policy, because that triple piece there was so risky.
Damn. This is what we need to see, though, right? I mean, they took control after the post plan. The risk that Capricious was taking was actually needed for ZOL Meraki to take control of the rounds like that. So I like that. I like the adaptation that we're seeing from ZOL Meraki. We needed more of those control-taking initiatives. And on the side of WSF, they've been trying to get some early takes as well, especially from Dolph. She's been so active in this B side, and she is going to try again and succeed again with the opening kill. So with a 4v5 now, ZOL Meraki is going to have an even harder task for this entry, either towards B or A. And I would love to see them take either of the sides from mid, instead of just going straight on this long angle, especially now that Dolph has a Tour de Force. She can activate it at any time, and this would make it even harder for them. So we'll see another B execute. So we'll see again the variation of how they want to approach this round, especially against Dolph, who is now down and out. And with that, a 5v4. The tables have turned just like that.
And again, they have been very much using these sites effectively, as was able to spot out Nox. He goes in towards the range of a rendezvous just to go back and this wall has been very
Last player standing.
but then again, look at that. Jake was able to check out on, make it a double. It's gonna be a double 1-by-1. Rosie was able to clean it up before that could even happen. What a close call. But still, ZOL Meraki reflecting their execution points, and I think that's actually pretty good for them.
That one's dead. Also.
Okay, I mean, again, this is the progress that we've seen from ZOL Meraki, right? They have adapted really nicely. They have realized quite quickly that what they needed to do was not stay passive as they transition into the post plan, and it's been giving them so much results, right? Just being active and not being too, passive and just waiting for WSF to restart the execute. And now they're just gonna go fast into A. Wait, Copycat! No, don't do that!
Oh,
The Sheriff! Cut down ZOL Meraki's effort going into that A side. And this is such a fun.
Oh, okay. That's a little bit too risky for Comfort back there. They could just triple peek, go far beyond. But then again, they're trying to make things more careful. But look at that, Rosie taps once, another yes.
One enemy remaining.
Yes, I know, and I play it again. Now it's up to Rosie versus Rosie, who gets to be the flower. Let's go, Rosie with a half health, and Rosie from ZOL Meraki with a sliver of health uses the clouds. Just seeing who gets to have the upper hand. Oh no, they have not met their eyes on each other.
Way.
But oh no, Rosie from ZOL Meraki goes from behind. She didn't see it yet. She hasn't spotted it yet. But then again,
30 seconds
goes into
left.
the other side, being more careful as time passes by. Who gets to spot it?
Beautiful.
Beautiful proactiveness in towards the map here for the side of Rosie from ZOL Meraki.
Damn. Again and again, we see the theme now, right? So we just need to see ZOL be proactive and taking control, be very aggressive in terms of taking spaces, and this kind of gives me a sense that WSF, they're not too aware of their surroundings, even though this is their map pick, even though I get the impression that they've got more prep going into this map. I feel like the gaps that they've let ZOL Meraki take are kind of too much to handle for themselves. So what I want to see from WSF is maybe take a step back and reassess how they want to approach these rounds in terms of positioning their agents so that they don't get caught from angles that they don't expect. right? And so they need to
Yeah.
use their utilities more effectively. They need to form more effective crossfires as well. So they don't allow these timings. They don't allow these awkward peaks. And of course, again, don't peak one by one. I agree totally with that. And so all these small details that's going against WSF are stacking up, and it's going to give the rounds in favor of ZOL Meraki because they are small details, but very, very crucial in terms of how the round are going to go.
I feel like that. I mean, I can see a little bit of light to what WSF is doing at the moment. I mean, the taps are really connecting. There's more utilities that they could have used. Again, the problem is just I feel like there was a certain amount of hesitation because I feel like because of that previous round wherein they weren't able to really find the location of Rosie during that fiasco, and I think one of the things that kind of really rattled in terms of communication. So because of that, again, Rosie from ZOL Meraki having the advantage in terms of weaponry, she just basically sprayed it all through, and for that to basically reflect in towards their performance right now is something that they have to. Oh, that was so close for comfort. Both
awkward.
of them tried to wiggle it out, try to bonk themselves as well. And they do know that there's an operator, and that calls for basically the rotate.
Yeah. Now they know the operators at B, and they don't want to have anything to do with it. So this is a bit of a disadvantage for WSF, obviously, because now they've given away the fact that they have an operator, and they are actually still leaving A open for the taken. That is such a great null command from Nuki. Unfortunately, though, she's going to get traded right away. And now it's still a 4v4.
This is so interesting. I like how they're not taking Nuki off the map, just because they do know that right now Noxy from Link was able to take Miha from the side, spot out ahead. It takes one. I feel like the gun was a bit of a hindrance as ZOL was able to take the trade, and now down with
One
the
enemy
as
remaining.
well, but Noxy was able to take 3. With a close call. Oop, it says taking out the operator first. Of course, priorities, Sleepy. Thank you very much. And of
Priorities,
course,
am I
yeah, she was
right?
able
I
to
mean,
have it though. So yeah.
yeah, they have a lot of time. So this operator, again, I mean, the fact that they revealed there was an operator at the start of the round was actually very beneficial for ZOL Meraki. But again, going onto this retake, I feel like not taking space is the Achilles heels for ZOL Meraki. Playing passive on the side is what's costing them these rounds, because WSF, if they're retaking against opponents that are just waiting on the side, they are going to be making use of their utilities very nicely. But if they are facing up against players who are taking active control, getting into positions that they do not expect, then that's when things start to fall apart. But ZOL Meraki, they've kind of inconsistent in terms of deciding whether they want to take active control or not. And the moments where they decided to stay on the side, defending the post plant, the crossfires aren't as effective as they'd hoped to have. So a little awkward, right? So hopefully for ZOL Meraki, they are going to realize that once again. Off of this WSF timeout, by the way. So again, thanks to WSF for a free timeout for ZOL Meraki to figure out what they need to do to start closing the rounds again. And I have to say, again, they have no real trouble getting into the site. They just can't close sometimes. And so if they can just realize that, then that should help them get even more rounds on the board.
Yeah, it has been a recurring problem for the likes of ZOL Meraki, and I feel like it's just yes, their entries are quite polished, but then again, we have yet to see on how they do their performance, as I mentioned. But right now, again, they're trying to approach coming in from mid. That's going to be the Prowler. Not going to detect one, surprisingly. Unshot was the one that gave them intel. So right now, it's not starting off really. Taking best down, so there is not any more shadow to see inside. But look at this. Miha, real quick on her feet. She knows she knows that Ricky's one or two from that area. But then again, Rosie goes for the shutdown. And here, getting that black five. Then again, Precious
One
got
enemy
that one
remaining.
Nuki and Cupcake. 4 trades of her own. And you already know where they at. Where Precious is at. But again, that was a bit of a question to me because okay, Capricious was able to take Rosie down. I feel like she wanted guns.
Yeah.
Because she didn't have a gun on her arsenal, so
I think she wanted to
yeah.
put down a rendezvous.
Yeah,
so-
that is fair. So
Unfortunate timing, I guess.
Yeah, timing again.
She was not expecting the second player there
Yep.
of that kill. So, unfortunate timing. At this time around, I feel like it's not about ZOL Meraki not trying to take control. The positioning was okay. They were spread out quite nicely to try and catch the retakers off guard. But I feel like
Their fears
these
betrayed
WSF players, they're getting more effective in trading and clearing the
find you.
angles when doing the retake. So all good for WSF. The control towards B is still maintained with his operator. Will get yet another first kill. I'm telling you, Dolph have been really effective in this chamber, and they just need to maintain this player advantage and make use of it if they want to convert this into a round.
Definitely, and take note. Fight for the potential match point, and ZOL does have that added pressure if they do want to make the sweep happen. So that is a trade coming in from Miha all the way to long. Spot got another one there. Tries to reposition herself to a more better angle. Places the star, uses the smoke, creating presence. But look at the other members of ZOL Meraki already marching down towards a fight. That is gonna be the knockdown once again, or a potential concuss, but no one is actually going to be there. So I guess another rotate is gonna happen here. But Bess, you gotta be careful with your taps and to where you're looking at.
You want to play? Let's play.
Pulling it out this fight, Noxie having the upper hand, and so we do see here a little bit to get Rosie for the trade. However, 4v3, let's see who does have the advantage.
No way.
Preoccupied to the boom bot
Spike
as
planted.
Rosie gets one down by Cupcake again for the trade. The trades are happening very simultaneously here, Sleepy, and right now using all of these commands. The spike has been planted. A little bit of a crowded here in towards the show. Let's see. The best position here is so good.
So good.
She already capitalizes on basically in the information. But then again, Cosmic Divide.
One enemy
Again,
remaining.
that's what we're coming. It's gonna be another little bit of head tap. Never Rosie is
Good
also
swing.
there for the swing.
Yes. Yeah, we were talking about
round
how
in the
good
half.
Beth positions was, and then bam, Cosmic Divide. Oh, never mind. Position not good.
Denied. Denied.
But thankfully for ZOL Meraki, the two players towards backside were positioned quite nicely, and of course with the operator, it was an easy kill, transitioning into a double swing, getting that last final kill. So Camille did a great job there, defending that position towards backside. So my one point here is the Cosmic Divide on the defensive side from Cupcake have been quite ineffective in trying to retake for the team. Twice now we've seen the Cosmic Divide, and twice now we've seen them lost the round off of the Cosmic Divide. So hopefully on the attack, we're going to see them play with the Cosmic Divide more effectively. But for now, with this final round, the operator shut down just like that. And this calls for a quick execute towards B, because now they know if there's an operator defending B side, there's probably only a singular player, but not like that, Camille. I
like
mean,
this.
you still have to be careful about secondary players. So, regardless, it's still a 4v4. He takes it on.
Not like this. And again, you see again, Spike has been planted. 4 versus 4 still on the clock. Nuki placing herself in tower once again. I feel like the operator just gets shut down. Right now, look at that. As I say, Capricious takes one. Gonna be another. He has to be very careful. We're going into this.
Oh,
As Noxie already gets her guard down. That's gonna be an odd use Rosie with a tap to be able to get one done. They're just tapping everything at this. Oh, she didn't have. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, that is one.
No
Oh,
way.
Continue it! Continue it!
No way!
Don't say! As WSF was able to collect by
Switching
mere
sides.
seconds.
Oh, man. Never fun to see that happen, right? You thought you killed a player, and you thought that's the diffuser. That's the trick in terms of smoke diffuses. So, unfortunately, not going to go in the favor of ZOL Meraki. This time around, WSF, they managed to claw back and equalize. Now it's up to 6-6. So, going into the second half, this is going to be up to how they approach this attacking round. So, panelists, let's show us what you have in store in terms of notes about that first half.
No charges left.
What a first half on Pearl, I have to say, between WSF and ZOL Meraki, where it looked like ZOL Meraki had the upper hand at first, but WSF crawling back with some of the most insane plays I have ever seen.
Well, that's the reason why they selected the double initiator setup, right? It's really for those shiny plays that they can offer against the team of ZOL Meraki, because we initially doubted the reason why they had to have a double controller and a double initiator setup, but control is definitely seen for them. But at least for ZOL Meraki, we see a lot of them have now differentiated themselves in their ascent map. They're winning all of these duels. Although the look on Bess for the Raze isn't necessarily something that we expected. She does miss a lot of these fights, and now all of these frags are entrusted to the rest of her teammates. So I guess it's all about how they choose to talk about these objectives per round. And I think we talked about this earlier on, right, Tash? It's very important to talk about the objectives.
Yeah, so it seems like it's all about the mindset, especially as we look to WSF. Again, they look so good on those thrifty rounds. They do absolutely well when it comes to getting those headshots. And it's absolutely scary because it doesn't necessarily mean that they can win thrifties, but it's more important to think about like what exactly are we going to achieve from each thrifty round we take? What are we going to do? So from what we saw from WSF is that they can take between 2 and 4 players down with just the sheriffs, and this is particularly important as it kind of damages the economy for ZOL Meraki even if they win the round. Now coming back to the second half, at least the second half of the first half, does that make sense? Is that we are seeing a more different approach coming in from the side of ZOL Meraki. Now ZOL Meraki, they are on the attacking side, which I believe is a little bit easier compared to defense on this map. But when it comes to WSF, I think what's really great about equalizing when it comes to the second half means that they have a little bit more loose play, a little bit more, how do I say that? A little bit more wiggle room when it comes to getting that margin for error. But given the fact that they do not have a duelist, this is something that I am quite concerned about, and I'm curious to see what exactly they'll do. So, without further ado, be passing it back to our casters, Zaya, Aura, and Sleepy.
Alrighty, thanks, ladies. Tash,
Thank you.
Bunny, and Donut. Getting
Thank
into
you.
our second half here. Something I noticed,
Yeah.
Zaya. We have 2 Rosies. So
Yes, we
how
do.
do we differentiate the 2 Rosies here?
Rosie.
Viper Rosie and Fade Rosie.
Zol Rosie.
Zol Rosie.
W Rosie.
W Rosie.
Yeah.
That's if you say W Rosie, you're implying the other one is L Rosie. That's
no!
not very nice.
Hey, don't gaslight me. But then again, how about their agents then instead?
Okay, all right.
Fade
Viper
Rosie
Rosie and
Viper
Fade
Rosie.
Rosie.
Yeah,
Got
there
it.
you
Let's go B now.
Yeah, I did mention that they did have a 1v1 from earlier, and I didn't mention who gets to be the flower, you know. But then again, going back into the B side right here, a lot of utilities being thrown down, and I did speculate this during whenever our panelists were talking. You did ask the question earlier, how are they going to defend? But look at this right now, kind of working it off for both sides of the team. 3-on-3 with Cupcake brink of health right now. The Rosie Viper Rosie still making it work. Dolph as well to secure the backside, and only Miha, Mamma Mia, was able to get that tap from our Viper Rosie here, getting more information as it should. Already trying Dolph to push her in. Who gets to meet up first, and it's Dolph to secure their pistol here towards our second half. Sleepy, what do you think about that?
That was a great start from ZOL Meraki, especially from Mia. She was very effective in terms of playing with the smokes. Also, the taps was really nice from her from the heaven angle. But of course, I have to say Dolph, even though she's only got 8 kills on the board, I think 3 or 4 of those have been first bloods. So in effect, she has been opening up the rounds quite nicely for WSF, even though the number's not too high. So let's see if she's going to be able to do that again here, because again, no duelist. It means that she is kind of the acting duelist here. She has to open up the spaces. But of course, we have Nuki as well, and Camille playing around the Nebula is not going to bear any fruit for her. And that means the B side is ripe for the taking for the side of WSF.
Open as well. Spike has been planted. Cupcake has been taking her time, but Caprice just goes for the shutdown.
Yeah, again.
Taking Nuki. Niha as well with the kill.
Wait, it's defusing.
Wait, they're defusing. It's happening. Oh, it's not
no
an open plan. It's not an open plan for them. And Caprice is buying some time, making her presence known. The plant is not an open one. It's a closed one.
But forget the plant for 1 second, Zia. The classics, man. I mean, Nuki got 1, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's Mia who got 1. And then Bess got 2 classic kills as they were trying to defend that plant that was admittedly kind of horrendous. It's a close plant, but they decided to go towards B long. And so it doesn't work out very nicely. WSF will need to review that plan and plan. So now that they're going into B again, let's hope that they're going to fix some of the problems that we saw in the previous round. They don't have too many of good weapons at hand. Only Viper Rosie. With a Vandal. 3 Sheriffs and a Marshal.
You mentioned this earlier, that how are they going to go with attackers with double initiate or double controllers, to say the least? Well, I think there's your answer. Like, more on the utilities, try to smoke out the passageway just to get there. See, just to get a bit more taking. But it feels like, though, you know, Cupcake. Because this is a risk. Because you spend too much on utilities, you know, you won't be able to have something to use on the later or on the long run. And because of that, there are trades for both of our teams, with Bess once again really securing their mid side. So right now, there's a little bit of heat there. Rosie takes 2 before getting shut down by Dolph. Dolph being the only member with a Marshall gets pulled, and Capricious goes for the cleanup.
Did you see that pop and swing from Capricious? He was just swinging across the map to get that final kill. I mean,
like, I feel like, you know, Capricious wanted to be a low-key Neon.
Look at that. Look at that.
Pop and swing.
That is just not very nice, Capricious. Oh,
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Let's go into the highlights. Clip it right now. Clip it and ship it.
I mean,
okay,
that
so...
was so fun.
No guns, so understandable. But then again, the problem that we talked about in the pregame, no duelists. How do you get space? Like, if you imagine they have a jet or a race, then it would have been an easier time for them to just get into the site and then maybe play with the lesser weapons. Because they don't have those kinds of agents, they're not getting any space. And now, they've once again figured out where the operator is. This time around, it's WSF that's scurrying away from the operator, now rotating towards the A side. However, there is another operator there because she has repositioned herself nicely towards the middle area. So if there's any indication that A side was the end goal for WSF, this operator is going to be there in no time.
Indeed, and right now I feel like that is going to be the play for the side of WSF right now. That's going to be the star in. That's a smoke as well. I like her angle right here. Uses the pull just so that they can have no other position but that corner. Look at that. Beautiful. See? Because because of that pull and that smoke, it
30
forced them
seconds
to be into the right side of corner of their map, or in that very area. And it paved the way for that beautiful crossfires to happen for the side of ZOL Meraki. And Rosie, our Viper, didn't have much of a choice but to just save this Vandal here. And for ZOL to know it, I feel like,
10
they're
seconds
gonna
left.
give it to him. They're gonna give it to him.
Well,
No shutting
I mean,
down.
Viper Rosie is going to have to save up now. And this will give us some time to talk about the problems that WSF
Yeah.
are facing up against here in the second half. As we said, no duelist means they have no capabilities to just, get in your face.
Enter, yeah.
Yeah. So, and you saw that just with a smoke, with a gravity well, the entry efforts on the side of WSF were denied just like that.
Yeah.
And because their utilities aren't really on point either, that's given Miha so much time to readjust her crosshair, to also just get quick headshots left and right. And a triple kill like that shouldn't happen if you have good utilities. You have a Viper, you have an Astra. I think those two agents are enough. Without even having to use the flashes, you could, I guess, push away players trying to defend those kinds of angles that Miha plays in. And again, this is going to come down to how much they're going to react to the situation, especially with Best just always taking this mid space.
I mean, she's basically doing her good job as a flank here, ensuring their backs and making sure that no one is actually behind them. So it's actually pretty good. The Viper wall here from Viper Rosie is actually pretty good as well. It denies any more peeker's advantage into towards the site in general. But there goes the Viper spin. I love the position of Camu though, because this is the only option that they can plant by default. But as I say it, Rosie with just a quick peek shuts her down. So how is this going to be? Bess was able to spot out one and the paint shell as well to delay any form of refrag, which is good. But then again, as the spike is not yet planted, they have time. Rosie, as you mentioned, Capricious now make it a 3.
One enemy remaining.
Fade Rosie, Noxy for a trade of her own. This could have been as well happen.
Well, I mean, they kind of answered our question, right, Zia? What can they do if they have no entry fragger and they have no utilities? Now they're answering that, oh, you know what? We have a utility. In fact, it's in the form of an ultimate, and that's the Viper Spit. Look at how much cover they have when they pop that Viper's ultimate. They immediately just became the homeowner of B-side, basically, right? So now, as the Viper Spit was popped, the onus was on ZOL Meraki to try and find those opening kills. And as they were trying to deny the spike plant, they were getting caught left and right by Rosie, the Viper. So that was all on Rosie. But the problem is, how many more rounds can you play with a Viper Spit? You can't just rely on it. Right?
You did say what I was about to because my concern here is that do they always have to depend on their ultimates alone? What if it's already too late by that time? And what if Viper Rosie isn't able to get those kills, those orbs in time? Capricious, speaking of, was able to get a beautiful headshot, taking away the clone or Dolph, who's also a chamber user for this game, with the effective as well. And now they do know the good advantages of using mid here. Rosie able to shut down Capricious Best, however, for the trade, uses the knockdown for any delay in terms of the refrag pushes or whatnot. But now I like it though that WSF is utilizing the mid side, because it kind of also gives them the mystery of their independent position. But Bez is just doing so good in guarding this mid area.
She ain't missing, man. She ain't missing any shots.
I don't want to jinx it though, so
we're just spinning facts, right? We're just telling the story of what
10
we're
seconds
seeing.
left.
But what we're seeing right now is that WSF
They have to plan.
somehow found an entryway into A without any real challenge from ZOL Meraki, because I feel like the time they spent getting into A was enough for them to make ZOL overthink. and
Yeah.
therefore it baited them into going towards B side when in fact they were slipping through sewage into A side. And oh, no way! It's denied yet again.
Oh, a second deny from our best player once again, and the beautiful positioning for the side of WSF to even out our scoreboard. You know, that was such a good time. The moment that Nuki heard the "Here comes the party," and then she just basically pops it to simply deny. And there was no time for Best to bring out a gun because again, the anticipation of you know having the showstopper in her hand could have been enough.
Yeah. As long as you have null command, you always have to save it if you see there's a showstopper on the opponent's side. It's a fail-safe counter to the showstopper because it's instant, right? The moment you press the button of that null command, it's gonna activate. At the same time, the showstopper takes some time to wind up, so it's always gonna get countered. And this time around, it was enough for WSF to win that round off of that null command cancel. Now, they're going to take mid again, and as you said, I'm enjoying this pace that WSF is taking us with through them. And getting mid, just chilling, waiting for pushes, punishing any naughty players from the side of ZOL. And once they have established control towards that mid area, now they're going to transition into pushing either A or B. In fact, they're actually pushing both, and I like that. Showing presence on either side opens up more options, especially if you can get an opening kill like that. Now, this is going to prompt ZOL Meraki to move towards A side, but I think because of Rosie, the Viper, showing her face towards B, that's going to give them a cue that B side is probably where they're headed, and with that, it's confirmed. So we'll see how this is going to go.
Mark 30 seconds left.
Ooh, this is so risky right now. Okay, Cosmic Divide is very much helpful to try and narrow down the options on the side of Meraki. That's going to be the Nightfall as well. Will be detected, and also using the Hunt just in time for the Cosmic Divide that goes down. So there you go, another
use again
with Toxins. Let's see how this. Look at all of these smokes. Holy cow! But Bo was able to elevate herself on a higher angle. That's one. That's a triple. That's it. That is the counter that we've been looking for ZOL Meraki. With all these utilities, the best way to go is up.
The best way to go is up. And we have to mention again the plant position. It is a little bit better now. It's a little more open, geared towards the B-long post plant. But what they did not take into account was the Cosmic Divide. They did have one of their own to get into the side, but they didn't count on the Cosmic Divide for the retake, forcing them to try and go through the Cosmic Divide and deny the defuse. And that gave Bez the time of her life, perched up atop that generator thingy towards B. And just having, you know, a very good time, easy time killing each of the players going through the thin, red, thick wall of the Astra. So a little unfortunate in the sequence of events. And this gives us an indication that WSF, they are too busy figuring out how to get into the side. They forget to take into account the ultimates that ZOL Meraki have in hand.
Double utilities to deny that area towards B, which actually for the side of the so now that is a lot to take in. But look at that little peak that we do see from Ship right now. There's no rendezvous for this one, so you have to be very careful with trying, but then it goes to her success taking Cupcake down. Look at Best, just with the patience game here. She loves it. She loves that mid area, you know, and it's working out for her. And
it's her home.
Yeah, and she's basically guarding it with efficiency.
30 seconds left.
So right now, taking a little bit more. This is quite the risk for Capricious.
Oh, they found a gap though.
Yeah, trigger discipline here for both sides of the team. Rendezvous out. Oh, but look at that cameo from the edge. Was able to shut her down. Mia was able to throw that Rosie for the trade, but then again, Mia takes one for the team. Rosie
seconds.
Viper here with 2 seconds, not enough time anymore. And it's still shut down by Kamiyu.
Yeah. Dude, I love the idea, Zia. I love the pace that they're bringing us through. They actually found a gap with Rosie slipping into that mid lobby towards defender spawn, towards sewers, but they just spent too much time trying to establish map control like that they forgot they still need to get into the site.
Yeah.
And when they were getting into the site, they totally forget that there are players defending the site. And in this case, it was Mia, right? Mia was just playing inside her nebula, so comfortable, waiting for the players on WSF to get into the nebula with her, and easy headshots all around. And yes, she did die to Viper Rosie towards the end, but there was only 2 seconds left as she cleared the site. So there was no chance whatsoever for WSF to establish control of the site and get the spike plan. So I'd love to see that again from WSF, but this time maybe speed it up a little bit. Try and get more control faster so you have more options. Since Pearl is such a big map in terms of the rotations, it's a little hard for you to play with only 20 seconds remaining. If you can't get into the side, you have no option of rotating back towards the other side. You have to commit. And if you can't commit, and if you're getting shut down when you're executing, that's pretty much it for you.
Yeah, and again, it's not just all about the speed itself. The utilities, they have been using it quite well. I think the problem is the counter utility that ZOL Meraki is using. They tend to just really rattle and, not really panic, but more like become reactive in a way that they have to push the side, even if the both sides is already okay for them. Look at that, though. Still, Wallbang was able to get through despite it all. What a monster! Beautiful monster.
One dead.
Then again,
Yes.
Kamiyu for the
enemy
trade of
remaining.
her will make it a double.
Yikes.
The isolation of is too strong on this one, but Noxy. Kamiyu will
Timing!
get the timing once again. Kamiyu. If she didn't do that could have been a difference. She could have just just pre-aimed with her fan cam, knowing that she does have the weapon advantage, but Noxy, taking advantage of the skin for all that fiasco. But in the replay, though, I like it how Beth wasn't really that depleted in health that much, despite all of that wall banging that happened to her.
She was so calm as it was all happening, right? She found the timing to swing after getting wallbang, and she getting 2 there was actually impressive to say the least. But unfortunately, the timing was not on Kamiyu's side. So another round going to the way of WSF. They are surviving. There's no match point just yet for ZOL Meraki, so it is still a very possible thing to see either both teams catching up to 12, or maybe even WSF turning this around and taking this map, bringing us to map 3. We'll have to see. For now, they are going to do what they've done before. Establish mid control, show presence towards A, maybe make it so that ZOL Meraki thinks they're going towards A and then execute towards B. This time around, though, it's going to be a little bit easier if they decide to go B, since the positions that the players on the side of ZOL are taking are kind of passive, right? And now Capricious is disabled, so this execute towards B is going to be a fun one to see.
Nice win for grenade cover as well for and again, look at this trade for both sides. Kamiyu just jumping down, no hesitation, make it a double for her, but Yuki shuts her down and gets 2 kills for herself. Showstopper was able to take Yuki down and Mia to clean it up. Looks like a match points time, an official one at that, Sleepy, for ZOL Meraki.
Well, there was no null command this time around, right?
Yep.
A little bit of BM can't hurt.
Yeah, friendly. They have known each other for quite the season. A little bit of a fun wouldn't hurt, right?
Doesn't hurt.
Match
Yeah.
point.
But yeah, this time around, there's no null command to deny the showstopper, so we're gonna see that kill again in just a moment. The way they opened up the slides for the retake, that's beautiful. And unfortunately for Yuki, she had to eat a rocket in her face from the side of this. So
I I feel like Bess doesn't want that anymore. She doesn't want to get denied by the showstopper.
She had to look up, right,
Yeah.
and see if Nuki had her ultimate up or not. And
Yep.
the moment she saw there was no null command, boom, rocket
Yep.
flies out. Okay, 12-10. ZOL, Meraki, they are on the verge of sending WSF home. Believe it or not, this is the lower brackets in FSL Elite
Yes,
Day
indeed.
number 2. Whoever loses this will have to sit out from the Game Changer circuit for the year, since this is like the last qualifier into Game Changers Championship that's going to happen in November. So, ZOL Meraki, they've done a pretty good job defending so far, and we've seen that in the previous game as well on Ascent. The way they stacked their utilities, the way they positioned themselves, forming the crossfires to defend these sides, it was pretty darn good. And we're seeing that again here in Pearl. And the problem is compounded by the fact that WSF do not have any duelists, so it makes it even harder for them to take space. Yes, they've been able to scrap some rounds, 3 in total so far for WSF on the attacking side, and now they do have that Viper Spit that we saw gave them a round before, Zaya. So I think that's the game plan going into this next round for WSF. Pop that Viper's ult and defend it with their utilities. And we also see Cupcake and Noxie also almost having their ultimate, so that might play a part as well.
They have to, because again, this is basically fighting for their spot, their tournament journey. So more pressure lies with the likes of WSF, so it's no question why they have to really dish everything out with the rifles, with even if it's light armor, and preparation to potentially get orbs or kills is definitely their A game. For ZOL Meraki, however, I feel like it's more of a pace. Yes, you did mention it as well, that the way that ZOL Meraki paces kind of really depends on how momentum driven they are. So if they keep it up, I feel like they could possibly win this. For WSF here, this is actually a good call for them. Use the wall denying so go after destroying the wall. Now they look, they're unfaltered. They're backing away because they want some space, and that's actually a pretty good thing for ZOL Meraki here, because it kind of dwindles the thought of being defeated. But right now, as I say, one down, Dolph as well towards A side. Could this be a momentous time for them? I think it's a little bit rally, but Kamu does have the rest. She does lose the kill, but no, Nuki shuts down Viper Spit as well to take this potential 11th point from them. Viper Spit, no, making it all the more hard. Capricious is also suppressed. So if they do, however, manage to shut down our Viper Rosie, then this could work. But a little bit of a damage from behind, though. We see, it takes one to know one. We did see that our Rosies did that. Yes. And it's more of a comeback, to say the least, for WSM. Oh, you did that to my teammate, I did that to you.
Yeah, let me get back at you.
Yeah.
That's a great round, but it was a bit of a surprise for me to see how they can just get free kills like that.
Wait, I just realized something, Sleepy. Earlier, it was a fight between the 2 Rosies. Yes. Now it was a fight between the 2 Chambers.
Yes, it was the 2 Chambers doing the same thing
before, man, this is so good. All right, but of course, the call for a timeout for ZOL Meraki, Sleepy, I think it's a very good one for
they
their
needed
side.
this. They needed this. But I do, however, have to mention one thing. They used a Viper Spit in a 5v1. So I'd say that's overkill, and that Viper Spit could have been used in this round where they needed to bring us to overtime. So honestly, I would have loved to see that, but because Rosie, the Viper, used it in the previous round in a 5v1, which I think is unnecessary, that might cost them this round. Thankfully for them, though, they still have the Cosmic Divide and the Nightfall, so at least they still have 2 ultimates to work with against ZOL Meraki. Now, the problem is, ZOL Meraki ain't got no money.
Ain't got no money.
They have one Bulldog as a rifle, and that's it. They do have a Revive. They do have a Cosmic Divide of their own. But I think overtime is very, very likely at this point.
I mean, unless they get the nerf next game, that is
Can't use that.
what's right now. So they're spraying it all out. And I feel like WSF is just creating all of these noise to potentially have a reaction from ZOL Meraki to have, you
are
cheat, so I kill you, right? Like that. And of course, after that, they're just basically going to go into the sides, in which I think that's what they're doing right now. But Dolph was able to shut down Best before she could even use that bulldog here, and that is a cosmic divide and a nightfall
Spike planted.
in their hand. That is a spike that's being planted right here. A little bit more so a pressure. Yeah, ooh, to complete the crew. Very smart. Let's see, but Dolph is already there in the vicinity. Don't be one by one, my friend.
No.
But you are apparently, and that is the third for Dolph. Yuki as well.
Enemy remaining.
And I feel like this is over.
There we go. Flawless. 6 players from the side of ZOL Meraki got killed that round.
Switching sides.
Because of
Overtime.
the revive. And yeah, so no guns, right? They didn't need the Viper Spit apparently because they're just winning the duels, especially Dolph, just breaking apart the defense on the side of ZOL Meraki. So we are going to overtime, ladies and gentlemen.
I blame
the first
P.
one of its kind today. And ZOL Meraki, they need to reset from this. I know it's a little hard to reset from the fact that you did have a match point, but then you got comebacked. And WSF, they're probably feeling very good right now with the momentum that they've gotten themselves. So they need to use that. They need to make sure that they don't get swayed by the fact that they are now in overtime and they have an equal chance to fight ZOL Meraki with equal guns this time around. No operator inside, so this defense is looking a little less scary, especially if they're just 5 stacking. Well, at least 4 players now are going to be, so another be executed.
Ooh, but look at that wall bang denying of Rosie. Was one
What?
beautiful tap before the rendezvous. Have to be very careful. Pushing it over here. All of the lock-up. Rosie has been bullied, but Capricious goes for the trade. 2v2. Spike hasn't been planted just yet, and we have yet to see who gets who first. That is going to the hunt. Not gonna detect Capricious. Nakia has to be very careful if she wants to make this work. Planting the spike. There's a wall
Enemy
bang.
remaining.
Not down.
Last player
Cupcake
standing.
here, but
Spike down B.
was the one who found out. And again, we do a thing. Noxy winning 13th point. A bit of a tricky situation,
Switching
but then
sides.
again, there it goes.
Match point.
Wow.
I am nervous. I feel like I need another round of Wagyu right here.
Yeah, this is nerve-wracking for
And my
either
last
team.
piece.
Right. For us too. Maybe the panelists. Tash, Donut, how you guys doing? Don't worry,
And I
you'll
feel
have
like
some
they're
time.
screaming even if we don't hear them right now, you know? Yeah, I feel like they are. See?
Okay.
See, there you go.
There we go. Let's go. 13-12. WSF, they are looking to close this and bring us to map 3. Impressive performance so far. Making sure that they are staying chill and collected. Focused on this round because this might just be the most important round of all for them to stay in the game changer circuit of 2022. They are going to go for that mid control yet again, establishing control way faster this time around, so there's less room for ZOL Meraki to move around the map because of the positions that WSF has secured. So right now, the only real option for ZOL is to just stay on the side and not get caught while trying to gather information on where the side of WSF are going. And now they have been detected. Best is going to swing and fall to Noxy. That means the opening is even bigger now for WSF to close this game and bring us to map 3.
Look at that. All the pressure is going to Miha with the timing, though. Still is able to get 2 to try and at least increase the chances of this retake. But right now, Capricious being very careful. No, I think this is it. Dolph takes Capricious down, and it's only up to Kamiyu with the magic, with the miracle plays. I'm not sure of how this is going to work, though, because Look at all of that crossfires that are happening in the board right now in towards A main. She has a lot of angles to consider. I mean, of course she couldn't see what we are seeing, but then again,